Hey, good to see everybody. I got John in the room. Hey, John. So you asked for an update on my mother. Yeah, I'm at my mom's right now. So a little bit different setup, but she's stable right now. So she's still in the hospital, probably for quite a while. But got to visit with her after that crazy snowstorm. So John, this might be good with you. We're talking about female narcissists. Thank you for that like. I appreciate that. John, maybe you can kind of join in with us and tell us about your female narcissist. Were there any kind of red flags that you saw? Because men and women, they can interchange. There's masculine and feminine energy, but in the general sense, females can use certain things to their advantage and men use certain things to their advantage. And narcissists love to manipulate, so they're going to utilize those tools. Men can use their power, their ability to help build things, just anything that they can do to offer stability. They can trap you by, trying to move you in too quickly, being the, hero for the damsel in distress. But females, now men can cry, but women do cry in healthy relationships. But the female narcissist will tend to utilize that, pull on your heartstrings. And narcissists often love to play the victim. So, adding tears, uh, that aren't genuine. And that's a whole thing because it gets confusing. They're master manipulators. And we kind of relate things like, yeah, people do cry when they're sad. But we have to think about what the red flags really are. You never saw her cry. Yeah, sometimes they don't. We saw Amber Heard. She's borderline and histrionic, not necessarily a narcissist. And I think yours, John, had narcissistic tendencies, but there was something different with her. That's just my guess on the things that I've learned from you and also her. Uh, but we all have different triggers. We all have different things that we react to, different expectations. But it's a manipulation that cuts to the core. John, you shared with me. I don't know if you want to share with everybody. Feel free to or not to, but she did um, kind of some manipulation tactics. And go ahead and share some of them if you'd like. But women, as a red flag, some women do have sex, some women don't, some wait till marriage. So you can't really take that into consideration. But narcissists sometimes will withhold sex, but uh, what were the signs? Is she acting like she's really into this relationship but doesn't hug? Um, or if it's like in her comfort zone, kiss, cuddle. Does she cuddle with you? Hold your hand? Is everything a secret? Does she not post things on Facebook? Is she hiding you from her friends? So men can do some of the same things too, but men usually use power, money, and uh, the women tend to use, um, being helpless just to get somebody to pay their bills. And what we got to think about what we get back in return. Is it love? Because somebody that you want to help, sometimes you don't mind giving them money, but do they start needing it for extra things, or is it a pattern? Are they trying to help themselves? And does she only come around or does he only come around when they need something? That's a big red flag. We have to watch out for that in our friends as well. So John never saw her cry. And mine, I think I saw both of them like once, one time each. John says she somehow got a lot of people to turn on me. No cuddling, hand holding, nothing. And that's kind of a thing. Like, I can understand, boundaries physically, but usually like holding hands, unless you're culturally not into that. But over here in America, that's not seen like, that's really not seen as too out of the ordinary, especially at home. And the longer your relationship goes on, think about it. You've taken her, whether it's to dinner, special activities, on and on and on. Does she just want to go shopping? Is that her excuse to do something with you? There's Samantha. Hey, I just gave an update on my mom. She's still in the hospital, but she's stable. Finally got to see her for the Christmas holidays. So I'm at my parents' house all alone. My dad passed away and my mom's in the hospital. So Oh, and I have to clean up my dog's vomit, like, right before I logged in. I'm like, so, yeah, after I log off, I gotta do that. She never throws up. I don't know. I stopped and got a chicken parmesan and, like, sub, like, with spaghetti sauce or whatever. It was really good, but she ate most of it, so that might be why she's sick. That's what happens when you travel across state. You gotta get some food. Um, so yes, it was really nice to be with her. So I'll be going back tomorrow. I'll still be able to log in. I want to do some creative videos for you guys tomorrow. John says she offered all that going to dinner, shopping, which never happened. Now, so you guys never went shopping together? Because there are a lot that will use people. Also, too, do they always have to have a friend with them? Because you're trying to develop a relationship and you know how women, we always go to the bathroom together and we love to, it's a little different culturally with men and women, and sometimes you're like, oh, she just wants to bring her girlfriend, or are they always calling, or do they always get a call in the middle of the dinner or trip or cuddle time or whatever you're doing, having a friend have to have them leave as if you know uh, it's some emergency thing. Sometimes things like that happen too. So that's why it's really hard to recognize what the different red flags are. And John saying hi to Samantha. We have somebody else joining us. I can see you guys. Hello, hello. Samantha, you know what, Cynthia? I looked up his far we are geographical. Uh, you looked up, I'm not sure what you mean. We are geographical. Oh, how far we are. Yeah, we're not too. Well, I'm trying to remember the name. Probably something like that. Yeah, not too bad. It's 2.5 hours to Toledo, I think. So, or maybe not even that long. So yeah, I don't know. We should meet up for coffee or something. I would be down for that. I also got a Starbucks gift card, so I can, if you bring a little shot glass, I have a $10 gift card from one of the kids at school and a nice little mug we can share. I just did, that's another thing too. I just read about Starbucks. I don't really drink Starbucks because I just drink black coffee. And they said how they purposely over, like, cook, like they char their grounds, because what they want you to do is they want you to upgrade. And this is where we talk about uh, psychological manipulation. So we're dealing it with the people in our lives. We deal with it at the shopping centers. I've talked about that before, but this is what Starbucks does. Feel free, guys, to comment as you want. And so the Starbucks, they overcook their ground so it tastes bitter. And they want you to overcompensate by adding a lot of sugar, the creamers, the caramels, whatever you guys add, and it gets some extra money. So it's a manipulation tactic, and they know what they're doing. They purposely make the coffee taste like crap. um, it's my least favorite place to drink coffee. Uh, but they went on and on about, like the paybacks, like if you're a troublesome uh, customer, that sometimes they'll give you decaf instead of caffeinated. And I'm not trying to bash Starbucks. There's people all over the world that do silly things like that. But um, just some manipulation we're bombarded with. So John asks, "How you doing?" Samantha says, "I'm okay, John. Thank you for asking." And she wants to know how you're doing. John's hanging in there out with his pets. He's got lots of pets. At least they're not vomiting in your parents' house. Like, I don't want to clean that up. But Samantha, we're talking about the differences between male and female narcissists. If you feel like sharing some of the manipulation tactics that they are doing, yours would be male, John's would be a female narcissist or narcissistic person, because there are overlapping traits. But we talked about the tears or the excuses. Women can utilize different excuses, whether we're on our period, cramping. A lot of times with guys can do it too, but the migraine headaches, like, oh, I planned on being there, but I got a migraine. Or both male and female will use, somebody died, certain situations, and they're just pulling on our empathetic heartstrings, and we're giving, we're investing, we're understanding, and it's the lack of investment that goes on. So we have to pull back if we're trying to deal with them. But when it gets to the point where it's that point of no return, it's almost like a vortex that you cannot get out of. So if there's hope to redirect it, they have to be willing, and it's going to be like dealing with a child. We got to constantly remind them, keeping on them on track. But that's when we got to be cautious how we do that, because if we're walking on eggshells, they're going to devalue us. I guarantee it, and I promise it. Um, and if we're too stern, they don't want to be mothered or fathered. So it's crazy how it all goes. Samantha says both are overwhelmingly arrogant. Um, yeah, they can be arrogant. Also, like my best friend's, he's, man, I thought I had narcissists in my life. He's over the top. Um, and it's always the poor pity me. He will, it, it's, and he'll schmooze. Like I told you guys, they're polyamorous, which I am not interested at all. I keep telling him my boundaries, and of course he keeps trying. But you know, like to stroke my ego. He's like, I can't exactly remember how he says it, but it's like, I'm not as intelligent as you, and you are so, like, he's trying to build me up. Like I'm this wonderful, trying to, like, I do take pride in my education, the things that I know. I strive to learn more. So I kind of take pride in it, but he hones in and kind of like he's trying to stroke my ego. I don't need an ego stroke. I don't need him to compare himself to me, because I'm not trying to outdo anybody. I'm just trying to be myself. But it's such a manipulation tactic, and he's not very good at the manipulation. So you can see through it. Because he does it in a creepy way. You can get that creep vibe from him. The other ones, you know, it's either so blatant that you're like, okay, like I get it, like, but he has to create if it's blatant, you get it. And that's the difference between the covert and overt. Covert, think of covered, they're hidden. Overt, I think of as over the top. Those are your grandiose. And there's different ways they can also flip flop between them. John says you care about people, but lately nobody seems to give a damn about my feelings. And thank you for bringing that up, because we are in such a society where, yes, we do get hurt in life, and we're doing the block, cut them out of your life. And when it's super toxic, yeah, we have to. But everybody in this world has narcissistic traits. So we're kind of encouraging each other to just fuck everybody, do your own thing, only care about yourself. Mahogany, Shanae, I love that. So good to see you again. John says hello, and thank you for the heart. And we had a couple of people joining us. Sometimes my thing flip flops, but I think this is going to be a good chat tonight. So I wasn't sure if I'd be able to come on, but luckily I had enough time, scrambled to get this all set up. And I almost sat on a suitcase. I was trying. Here's Santa Claus. I'll show you Santa. Isn't that pretty? I actually remember I gave those to mom and dad 20 years ago when I sold Avon. All the things that we've done in life, the twists and turns. I don't even know. Sorry, guys. Not the best setup here. So, oh, and Lily's here too. So we got Mahogany, John, Samantha, Lily, and some other people are joining us. Lily says, "Hi, guys. I'll be in and out. Daughter came home, so we're eating and stuff like that. Thanks for explaining covert and overt. We care about you, John. Yeah, covert, think of covered. Overt, think of over the top. Over the top is in grandiose, and covered is hidden. And the covert, that's what I dealt with. Overt is what my like so as far as the grandiose, let me say it again. As far as like my best friend's life mate, whatever, um he's over the top. It's so visible, it's so abusive, like you can see it. But yeah, covert, those are the hidden ones, the sneaky ones, where they're like, oh, I'd love to help you, and they're like, fucking bitch, like, and they talk behind your back, they try to destroy things. And Mahogany says hi. And John says, thanks, Lily. Lisa, that means a lot to me. And I just gave an update. My mom is stable right now. She'll probably be in for a couple weeks or so, but she's was very glad that I was finally able to see her. So this is my parents' house. Maybe I'll go around setting it up other places. I'll probably be here a couple days, go back home, come back after. I want to spend New Year's with you guys. So comment below if you think you want to do a New Year's. I'm thinking about doing it at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm still flexible on it, but it'd be good to kind of discuss some of the different things that we're going to do this year, how we're going to heal, stop ruminating so much. Some of us are still in our relationships, so kind of get a little game plan going, because the main thing is to be safe, healthy, and how, like, our psychological state, just in like how clean and organized our house is, it changes how we feel about ourselves. So we got like our spiritual house, our body, we have to take care of that as well. So if we're feeling unsafe, unsettled, uh, it's it's going to cause like an energy distortion. And Samantha says, husband is a mix of vulnerable and overt. And that's the thing. I wouldn't doubt that. Samantha sent me some audio clips. I know a little bit about him, so I'm not going to say for sure, but I can see both. Yeah, I can definitely understand that. And they can be, 90% one way and 10% the other, or they can be 50-50, or year by year it can change. Depends on their frustration. And that's when you're really going to see certain things. But they also, uh, they repeat the patterns, and sometimes they get better, but then they go right back to it. And that's the thing that makes it so toxic, is you think you're making progress, you're investing your life. As I'm going through, whether it's Facebook or YouTube, I read the comments on every, not every, but across the board on all these different YouTubers. And there was one I just read, 44 years of marriage. And, you think about that. It's like if you got married in your 20s, that's like 65 years old. I know my math's a little off on that one, but 65 years old, I'm rounding up, and starting over. I'm 52, starting over. I've been starting over for a while, but they take the best years of your life. And, you know, as you get like, as you get older, you just want to enjoy life. So be smart about your money. Try to invest in some whatever works. 401k, don't do Bitcoin. But John says, I do take good care of yourself. The pets get whatever they want. And John, yeah, I want to be an animal because you do take good care of your pets. Lily says, me too. And I spoil the furry family, 4 cats and 1 dog. So animals can be really emotionally uh, wonderful. I uh, except tonight with my dog throwing up. But it's cool how they can communicate. Like, my dog is so sweet. I was, how you get like so upset over our narcissist, and they can sense it. It was so sweet. She put her paws up here and actually gave me a hug. It was perfect. She's so sweet. Samantha says, I don't want to be intimate with him because of his behavior, because I know he will turn the next minute and tell me I deserve to be beaten. That's where I am now. I feel like a big step out. That's the thing, Samantha. Um, you can email me this one. Email me this one. Have you ever been sexually molested or assaulted? And you don't have to tell me, but sometimes we got to look within ourselves. Why are we feeling that's okay? And it runs deep. So shutting down, yeah, when you're intimate with someone, I think you are a lot like me, Samantha. I honestly do. As the more I get to know you, but uh, yeah, pop up, Dixie, pop up, come on, pop up. Yeah, I'm in a 6,000 square foot house right now. Come on. I don't know. She just threw up. I'll, I'll find her in a minute. But yeah, I've had Dixie in a couple of videos, but I don't know what she's doing. Oh, John, I know you would. You'd hug me. But as far as being intimate, and that's the thing, like, it can be interpreted as you withholding sex from, as a manipulation tool, but it's a reaction to the abuse. And this is where I want to do a video on the difference between, um, lost the word that I want to use, uh, manipulation and boundaries, because and also expectations, because in a sense, if you think about it, it's you want him to change his behavior. So in a sense, uh, you know, but it's the toxic part. You want to stop the toxic part as opposed to, you know, it, it's so hard to verbalize because there's differences, but those differences make a difference. So, kind of like, I don't know, let's say he promised you a trip to Disneyland and he purposely never meant to do that. He just wanted sex with you. That's a manipulation thing. Like you can, whether that's right or wrong, you can at least make your own decision on, do I want to do that? Is that worth it? And I mean, that's up to you guys what you do, but they're empty promises, future faking, and, you know, especially I think, and I could be wrong, but with women, we're pretty vulnerable. Like we can get pregnant. Um, we could be prone to more just UTIs, yeast infections, bacterial infections, whatever it is. But it doesn't happen all the time or ever with some people. But we have a lot more risks. And because the man can leave, there might be child support, but um, usually the woman, at least for 9 months, different things. So as we grow up, we're a little more vulnerable. Also, women don't usually make as much as men. All these kind of things go through our head. And, you want a protector. You want to feel safe because you're already in a more vulnerable state. And when they're threatening you, that is not a safe spot. And to be threatened, like either have sex with me or I'm going to beat you. So, Samantha, let's dive into that a little deeper. You can email me on that one if you would like, because I've been raped, I've been molested, and I'm. It's like I'm a freak when I'm with the person that I'm in love, but yeah, I don't even want to kiss somebody just for fun or, he's cute, why not? I'm not like that. So Lily says, Samantha, can you get your ducks in a row to leave him? So Samantha, I want you to answer that. I know Samantha is a stay-at-home mom, so it's difficult. She's got 3 kids plus she homeschools. But Samantha, he's threatening physical harm. You know, uh, and emotional harm like can last longer, and emotional harm damages our brain, can cause that broken heart syndrome. Like we got to be aware of the things where I mean there is something where your aorta detaches, like emotional abuse plus physical abuse. And I talked to you about when I was in law school, we studied about the eggshell skull defense, where you take your victim as they are. So if he just grabs your arm and you're fragile, didn't realize it, you break your arm, he hits you in the head and you just bleed out. Normal person might not have, but we don't always know. You hit yourself at the right angle, or he hits you if he pushes you against something, like even just being pushed, you know um crazy. So John says, my girlfriend was always very affectionate with you. And are you talking about the first one? I think you're talking about your 40 year. We'll do 40Y, my 40Y girlfriend, so I know what you mean. um, because I think up above you said the narcissist really wasn't, and that's something to watch out for. Now, in Samantha's case, like, why would you? Like, she's totally right for saying no, thank you. Shutting down, um, and it gets to the point where we got to be careful because sometimes when they get in their mode, they don't stop. They don't stop. And I know during one of my rapes is I was being overpowered, and I'm like, just stop, don't do it. And um, like he like didn't remove himself, I guess you could put it. And so it was just to the point where I just couldn't get out of it. So I let it finish, if that makes sense, just to get it done with, because it's like I was, and it's a judgment call. It's not, but then they're like, oh, she loved it. And it's like, Jesus, like I couldn't get free. I couldn't get free. I had another rape where I just went limp. The guy was literally 200 pounds heavier than me. Um, you know, I know when I caught on fire and also when I fell down the stairs, broke my leg. When I go through, and also when I flipped out of a whitewater rafting raft for just a split second. Luckily, that wasn't too long. But I black out when I'm in an extreme fright or pain. So I just went limp. Like I couldn't get them off. And, you know, in law school, we learned you got to fight to the utmost. And, did I gouge his eyes out? Did I do this and that? But in that instance, that was kind of my utmost. Even though it might sound lame, but Lily says, Samantha, I wish I was in the same town as you. Yeah, maybe Samantha, you can move in with me. Yeah, Lily, I know, because it's like our hearts go out to you guys, uh, to help you. Do you have friends or family that could help you? So, Samantha, feel free to join in on that. You say, I'm really scared, frankly, of doing the wrong thing in the long run. I think that some of it is indeed trauma bond to trying to mentally work through it. And there is NAMI, NAMI. It's like support coaches. If you want somebody to talk to other than me, it's free. NAMI. You are in the United States. They have support groups, a one on one counselor, and that's something you might want to check into. I'll type that in the thing. I'm on. I don't like traveling my setup. National Association for Mental Illness. I don't even know, but they're very kind. I've talked to some of them, and yeah, and if you go to church, things like that. But NAMI, I think they would understand the narcissistic abuse because some pastors are fantastic. Other ones might go, you just need to pray about it, or that is your husband, you do need to obey. So make sure that you're getting at least healthy advice for you. Somebody who really understands the situation. We always see things from our perspective instead of, like, we try to see somebody else's perspective, but we pull from our experiences. So, the narcissist pulls from a really bad place in their life. We pull from positivity. We do have some trauma, so we have some triggers because no upbringing is perfect, but they have a lot more trauma, so they see things more negative. They see things that where they take it personally. It's just an insight. She's in Ohio. Oh, how? Ohio. And I know Lily says, yeah, Samantha, you can't keep enduring that. When was the last time you threatened physical injury? Because I keep saying that Chinese proverb because I'm 52 years old. And you know, looking back, that's why, with the new supply, how she's 13 years younger than 11 years younger, I think. Um, it's not going to work out because she's not going to be able to handle him. She's not going to understand his needs, and so she's going to try. I think she's a great woman from what I know. I don't know her, but she seems pretty on the up and up. I do see some manipulation thing from her, but you can see just in the way people word things, you can see. Um, but for the most part, I think she's pretty good. But she's not gonna know what hits her and how to handle it. And Samantha, you are trying to handle it. If you and I got in a tiff or an argument, we could handle it. He's not connecting with you. And when which you're gonna have to expand on that because my mind's kind of blank. My first one was the narcissist. I can't remember what you're referring to. Probably that's probably. Oh no, no, not the cop, not the cop. I know what you're referring to. No, that was 28 years ago with the cop. Um, but I know with him, he was with, I don't even know, anywhere from 13 to 17 years. I don't know, 13, 14, 15, 16 years with this one lady. And even when he was with her, he was talking about moving to the UP, not when we were together, but he was like, yeah, I'm not going to take her with me. And he had ended up not moving, but he's in this long term. That was probably around year 8 or 10. And it's like they got these women, people strung along just because it serves their purpose. And Samantha says, I'm in Ohio. Lily, aw, thank you, my friend. And that's what I love is we really are getting to know each other, you know, and sometimes even just emotional support, different perspectives. Because Samantha, sometimes when we're too close to, we can't see the forest through the trees. And that's where I was. I do want to do a video on some of the things that I did wrong. Um, because there's certain things that, you know, as a healthier person, I know some of like some low self-esteem things. Like when I first was moving to see the cop, had to move across state. I was 21, 22, and it, you know, I had this new baby, you know, and he lived in a beautiful town, and I drove out there. Basically, I was excited. I've been to that town before, but this is like a lifelong thing. I'm moving in with him. We're going to raise a family. And so I just kind of wanted to feel the vibe, just soak it in, process it, like my crossover into womanhood or whatever. And I said, "Yeah, I went to that city today." And he's like, "Oh," he's like, "Why'd you do that?" And I didn't want to, I thought it would sound too nerdy. Like I wanted to absorb it and I just wanted to take it in. So I was like, well, I just, you know, wanted to see if I wanted to spend my rest of my life there. So I'm sure he took it as I'm not, like our relationship is dependent on how beautiful this town is, which it was. It's one of the prettiest towns in Michigan. But because I'm, you know, me not wanting to sound like a nerd, um, I said something that wasn't exactly the truth. It kind of was, but that wasn't the full truth, you know, and it it wasn't meant coldly. It wasn't meant uh, anything against him, but you have to understand they are human too. So he took it as probably how I would have taken it. So that's why the stronger our confidence is, the more things flow freely. So if I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm a nerd, I just wanted to, you know, come absorb it, and I'm so excited to make this change. So that's where it's really important. And I hope that's a really good analogy to see how self esteem matters. Like, I wanted a life with this guy. I just didn't want to sound like a nerd. And I should have just bit the bullet. And I could have laughed it off like, yeah, I'm a nerd. Um, because it changes how we talk, and that's why I like Samantha and some of you guys who are still healing. It changes the way we talk, it changes the way we're perceived. So, Nathan, good to see you. Thank you for your patience. I was in the middle of talking, but I saw your name pop up. Good to see you. Thanks for coming back. What's up, everybody? Nathan says. And Lily, Samantha's asking, you know, how bad is the physical abuse? Does he hit you? You know, slap, cut, punch, trip, push? Um, because, you know, you deserve to be safe. And I want you to take it into your mind that if you think, well, yeah, if he punches me, whatever, you know, I can take it. I'm a tough girl. You never know what your body is like. I know I was a gym teacher and I challenged a different teacher for a free throw. As a gym teacher, I missed it, but I made my free throw. I missed it. I was like, dang it. And I turned. All I did was say, dang it, blew my knee out, needed surgery. So sometimes, you know, we think we can take certain things and life tells us otherwise. Nathan saying hi to Lisa, Lily, Sam, and John. And Mahogany's here too. Mahogany joined us, and there might be some other people. Please say hello if you feel so inclined. And I've been through so much, and I'm strong. And I know I've been through a lot, and I cry a lot. Not so much anymore. Not so much anymore. But um, with all the crap I've been through, my mom would have nightmares that I was suicidal. I wasn't, but I can't tell you how many times my mom's like, I just had this horrible dream. I've also had this one lady who I thought was the strong one, who, like, we're talking severe abuse. And she's like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it, Cynthia. Because, yeah, I have been through some shit. And it pisses me off because it's almost like you're too nice, so you get screwed over, you know? And I don't want to be a bitch, but I see it with the kids at school. You know, I'm like, you guys only listen to me when I talk in my bitch voice. And I try to show them, I've been nice for, 2 weeks now. And I'm like, do you like me talking to you like this? And they're like, no, but they're listening. And I only do it as an example. But when you're like, hey, uh, but if you're like, hey, kids, time to, let's go have some fun, it doesn't work. And it's like, why doesn't it work? So when you're talking with your narcissist, um, you have to relate it. Like, seriously, I promise you, I promise you. Uh, I wish you guys could work in a school for a year and learn how to talk to kids, like a group of kids, because different one on one, like the troublemakers are usually not troublemakers one on one, but the grasp of um, the narcissistic intertwines, you can see apparent in the classrooms. Just the retention of what they've promised, they can reflect and they love to share. Up, yes, we should be kind, be respectful, don't hit, follow rules. They know and they love to tell you. So it's just like our narcissist, like, I know we need to work on this and I will be home at 6 or whatever the situation is. They know, but then they are like the kids, like, screw this. This is stupid. I want to get up. I want to poke somebody. And it's like a boredom thing. They get bored. That's why they need the chaos. And I don't know. So, okay, I got to scroll up. I'm on this little stand up tray that's a little shaky. So deal with me. My camera's all angled. Okay. Nathan saying what's up to everybody. And Sam says he's not physically abusive. He just threw. I love you, Sammy Sam. Um, and I see what you're saying, but he has thrown a punch, but was just above me, missing me, and he grabbed my face before, but never really hit me. And I know I've been there. I told you I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. Mine grabbed me and sat me down. That was just one time, but look at Amber Heard. She threw that bottle at Johnny. Probably didn't mean to hit him, but look what happened. He chopped his finger off. Because what if you went like you were trying to go away, and that's where he thought you'd stay still, and ends up hitting you in the face. Um, slam it, like, you got to think about those things. So yeah, he did miss you, and grabbing your face. I know sometimes, that's probably something he went through in his upbringing, where mom or grandma, hey, listen to me. But I'll tell you, I had worked at this one place when I was 16. It was a rental place, rented everything. And I've told the story one time before, but I was being a silly little teenager, like, oh, you're so cute, tapping this guy on the face. And I just, he was a coworker. We had like a brother sister kind of relationship. Oh, and just being silly, but he slammed me. Like, he literally slammed me, and my face was like, yeah, it's a trigger. Um, and he said, yeah, he used to be grabbed like that. So for him to do that, it's something from his childhood, and you don't deserve that. He probably didn't like it, just like that guy at the store. Obviously, didn't like it. Didn't like people touching him. So what does he do? He touches me and takes me down. Did I deserve it? I shouldn't have touched him. It was playful, but that's the thing. We sometimes don't know what people's triggers are. Like, I was just having a nice day. We always would have that banter back and forth, had a lot of fun with each other as brother sister type relationship. So I thought we were cool, but yeah, I've learned be careful, you know. Especially now they have sexual harassment stuff. Like, I touched him on the face. It wasn't in a sexual way. I wasn't like, oh, but it's better not to touch people. You just never know. But Nathan says, hope everyone had a great Christmas. Yeah, we did. We were in our chat. We had our little Christmas party. So yeah, I do hope everybody had a fantastic holiday. Keep that Christmas spirit alive till we meet again. Because we're going to be doing a New Year's thing. I'm thinking 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me know if you guys want some different times. Lily says, good, Sam, but still bad. Yeah, so I think what she means is, that's good that he's not really physically abusive, but still kind of bad that he can't control his temper. We'll put it that way. So he needs to control his temper, because it's okay to feel angry. It is we have to feel angry. It's a part of who we are. And 10 years is a big age difference, Sam. I can't remember, Sam, is your man 10 years older? Huh. I can't remember that part. I'm sorry. Yeah, we are alike. And I know we are genuinely happy. I smile all the time. I don't know why. I just do. I can't run in the winter because my teeth, I cannot run without smiling. So I look like an idiot. Like, this hurts my knees. So thank you for the good wishes, Nathan's. And yeah, happy go lucky, genuinely happy. And that's the thing is, you know, um, I don't want to be like the self-aware where where they do kind of address, I'm trying. I have my sad days too. It is a struggle. I'm doing better each day with a couple ups and downs, but Nathan's, I'm 10 pounds heavier from fruit. Well, then you had a good holiday. The average weight gain's 8 pounds. So you had extra, yeah, 8 pounds over the holidays. Also, if you go on a cruise, that's the average weight gain, but that's usually due to salt. So usually that comes off. Holiday weight gain, that's holiday weight gain. Mahogany Shanae says, and I love your full name. My son's school is a bunch of bullies, including my sister's daughter and cousin's daughter. And I've been in the school system, I don't know, 20 years or so, off and on through when did my first, I don't even know, I was probably 21, so about 31 years, seeing the changes. Some of the first schools I started at were, they were inner city, downtown, or not downtown Detroit, but the outskirts in Detroit. Very poor, but it was like a Lutheran school, the first place I um, went to. Um, but it was uh, it was definitely a big change over the years. The kids, luckily, right now, I'm in a more affluent school, and the kids are a lot better. So money, sadly, you can see makes a difference because there's probably financial stress, maybe possibly more single parents. I know I've worked at schools where was it like 68% of the kids were homeless, and they consider homeless as transient, whether it's one night at grandma's, one night at dad's, one night at Uncle Sue, Uncle Joe, whatever, um, or a hotel, to where they don't have a true place to stay. But that's like really high. So what I have now, it's still this is the first school I've worked at where not one child is on the meal plan. The last one I worked at, every child was on free breakfast, free lunch. So we still have a couple kids that get little care packages to go home on the weekends. And those are also the ones that are the ones acting out, which is kind of interesting. Um, and there are other kids too that act out. So sometimes, money, you can spoil your kids too, and then they'll act out. Do they cheat because they get bored, Cynthia? Sometimes, or it's a challenge, or they're drunk, or they don't give a fuck, or they're feeling fat and ugly, so they want to prove that they're not fat and ugly. Uh, and I'm just using that as like, uh, I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say, just to build their self esteem. Or, they get mad. Sometimes there's those grudge fucks or challenges, like, I bet I can get her. And girls can do that kind of stuff too. Or they might want, I've known some women who, diamond rings are pretty expensive, where they can either do it in their own mind, or they can have a group of girls who want to see who can get the most amount of wedding rings or engagement rings, not even intending to marry the person. The cheating varies. You know, it does vary. And the narcissists vary. Some of them do have feelings for the person that they're with, and it's like an attachment as opposed to love. It's different. But the thing is, you know, it comes down to the agreement between the two, the people. If they're polyamorous and they're cool with that, but if something is important to you, like faithfulness, then that's when it matters. Um, and also to be diagnosed with NPD, you have to have it affect your life in a negative way, which is so crazy because if I had breast cancer right now, it's going to affect me. Um, but it's not going to affect, and as far, and this isn't going to be the best example, but you know, um, it has to affect, this isn't the best example, but it has to affect their life in a negative way. So let's say it was a benign tumor where it's not bad and I got big boobs and I was excited. So that's not really a negative thing. It's a tumor, but man, I got big boobs now and let's say I want them. So that's not really negative, but it's still a tumor and still whatever. But the narcissist, it has to affect their life, whether it's their interpersonal relationships or they can't hold a job or whatever. So if they can be a dick and nobody's calling out on it and everybody's okay with it, it's not affecting their life negatively. So how I don't know. I don't know why they added that part. It's either you're a narcissist or you're not. But because eventually, as we go through life, it's going to affect somebody somehow. Uh, but it could be boredom, revenge, low self-esteem, and they need a boost, or they might feel they're uh, going to lose a conquest that they want. Um, it can be different things, you know, or you know, uh, different sexual things that certain people do that certain people won't. So maybe it's just that little craving, that little fetish, or uh, above and beyond average sex, or extra blowjobs, or whatever it is that they're craving. It could be something like that. A lot of them have porn addictions, or uh, they objectify sexuality. The more partners you have, the more detached you become from the emotion. So that could play a part in it too. How many partners they've had, also at what age they lost their virginity. John says, my narcissist did that, poke fun at little things. Yeah, and it's just like the kids at school. They see one little thing and they'll either start to make you feel insecure about it. Um, like I could walk in, let's say I'm a kid, I walk in with a black sweater. It's just a black sweater, nothing wrong with it. That's what my mommy dressed me in. And they'll be like, oh, the Grim Reaper or whatever. So now I feel self-conscious every time I wear a black sweater. Um, and our narcissist can do that where it's like, I didn't think there was a big deal about whatever it is that I was doing, whether you put spaghetti in a bowl or spaghetti on a plate, like you're a piece of shit housekeeper because you put it in a bowl instead of on a plate. They can start degrading you over little things as opposed to, oh, thanks for making dinner. Tastes delicious. They focus on negative stuff, pick away at things that don't need to be, it doesn't matter if it's on a plate or a bowl. Maybe if you have a special executive dinner with your bosses, but you know, my white it does seem like a White House treat. Yeah, I'm at mommy and daddy's. It goes all the way up to the ceiling, and there's Santa and Mrs. Claus. The whole house is decorated. I tried doing a video. We got, what is that? That must be a 6 foot wreath hanging on the wall over there. They got really tall ceilings. But I went out in the kitchen. It's all decorated with the windows, and the Wi-Fi doesn't work. And unless you guys want to go into my classroom that I have downstairs where I can connect to Ethernet, I got to kind of watch where I am. Um, but thank you. I'll let mom know you like the tree. So yeah, and the one I have is kind of sad. I told you my little Charlie Brown tree, but I ordered it online, so I didn't know exactly what I was getting. Have I decided on a New Year's time? So far, 11 Eastern Standard Time. I will definitely be on at that time, so if I go on at 10, it'll still go through 11 and midnight. But I'm thinking 11 would be good, so I can kind of catch all the, maybe I'll do it uh, 11:15. I might do 11:15. That way I can do Pacific to like midnight 15 for them, as opposed to right at as the ball drops, it clicks out of my 4 hour. Is that 4 hours? I think so. So maybe 11:15, and I might log off earlier if there aren't people from the Pacific Coast. We'll do like 11:15 is probably the best thing. That way I can do my American time zones. I can log in earlier too if you guys are from different places. So just let me know, guys. We'll plan on 11:15 though. Samantha says, if my grandpa was still alive, I'd leave husband and go yesterday. And see, this is something I want you to think about. Now, that's probably a place that you could go to, but um, you know, it's kind of reasoning um, that if you look at it, it's like I'd be gone. I'd be gone. And I get what you're saying, but I'm going deeper into it. I'd be gone. I'd be gone. And I would have already left. Um, and if you really mean the statement you just told me, that you don't want to be there, and grandpa's not around anymore, and I'm sorry for that, but you just feel like you don't have options, but your heart is telling you that you shouldn't be there. So I want you to think about that. And uh, sometimes we start weighing, do I want to go back to work? I know you put in capital letters, I need to I can't remember. I just remember the capital need instead of want. I need to be with my kids as opposed to I want to. And I think we're talking about like being there all day long since you're a stay at home and also teach them. But I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that. And maybe you can even tell us why you feel you're staying. And I know you're in an emotional like fork because you're like John did this in the beginning, kind of like the flip flop, like, oh, it's going to be okay, and no, it's not, and yes, it is, and what is this? And today was like you kind of undulate, and I'm definitely not tearing you apart because I've been there too. It's almost like our souls are telling us, like, and we try to build ourselves up, and we get knocked down, and it's a cycle. So I tear apart your stuff because I love you guys. I'm not judging you. This is just my interpretation based on my knowledge and personal experiences. So you can take it or leave it or question me back. Like, if you don't agree with it, that's fine. You guys can also chime in. So Samantha, I love you. Really care about you. But I hope this helps. And let me know if you guys think the way I handle certain comments, if that helps us to grow, because I definitely don't want to offend anybody. And sometimes looking at the truth can be really hurtful. It's hard to face the truth. That's why we go through that cognitive dissonance. We're going to pick, the least, maybe I can do better. Maybe some of this is my fault, as opposed to he doesn't give a fuck, because that hurts. He doesn't give a fuck about me. That hurts more than I can do better. So it's kind of like a protective mode, that cognitive dissonance that we go through. So Lily says, yes, Sam, but if you're unhappy on a daily, you have to get out. Yeah, because there's going to be different cycles. Even women, guys have hormones too, but we get hormonal sometimes, exhausted. You got 3 kids, stress at trying to teach them certain things because you homeschool, trying to get dinner, going shopping. Everything it is really hard. But when we're more unhappy than we're happy, and when there's no light at the end of the tunnel, if this is our existence to remain unhappy, that's not what's meant for our lives. I'm a religious person. I believe in the vows of marriage, but I also don't believe that marriage is like a death sentence where you're being physically abused and where your brain cells are being killed. I've shown you guys those graphs, and CPTSD. Like, it affected me. I still deal with anxiety, the brain fog. I also have COVID brain because I just had COVID like a month ago. But it affects you. And then it might start affecting the way you eat, whether you gain or lose weight, but even just your food choices. You're too tired to make the healthy food. You're going to start neglecting your kids. I promise you, you aren't going to mean to neglect them, but you're going to want to go cry and you don't want them to see that, or you need to handle things with the husband. So you go in the bedroom to talk to him about it. It's going to cause neglect with your kids. And, you know, um, I kind of did with that with my daughter. I tried to cover it up, crying. And I'm like, Mommy's just happy. These are happy tears. And she thought I was the happiest person in the world. Um, but she also didn't get to know the real me. You know, we try to protect our kids, and sometimes it backfires. So just some things to think about. So I'm glad you said that. You can see Lily's point, Samantha. And John says you deserve better, Samantha. And that's what I like about you guys is usually if you're here, not some people look for manipulation tactics, but usually we're trying to see, how can we grow, or, how can we heal? And we want to be healthy people. Yeah, I did. Yeah, Nathan. Lily says 11. I think I'll do 11:15 just to make sure I get my 4 hours. I think it cuts off at 4 hours. So I'll do 11:15. I can also log in the afternoon too, or morning. I'm going to see my mom that day. But uh, Lily says, Sam, imagine a year from now or 5 years from now. Can you imagine being with him? So what do you think it's going to be like? And we'll do the 5 year plan. Your kids are 5 years older now, and what have they seen in the last 5 years? Uh, has it caused them to be on edge, or are they able to express themselves freely? And that's going to affect their sleep patterns. Some children who deal with those kind of interactions between the parents become bedwetters, which is a sign that, and that not at the, if the 2 year old's still doing that or whatever, but, you know, uh, if they start doing certain signs, that's time to think, how is this affecting my kid? And, I had a friend who, she got angry with her daughter, whatever her daughter did. And she's like, kind of like, that's it. I had to go stand in the corner. And the little girl's like, okay, do I have to take my clothes off? And the mom was like, wait, what? And that's how they found out she was being sexually abused. But you have to pick up on little things like that. So if the mom was like, quit being silly, just get in the corner, she missed the clue. So we got to pick up on clues. And I'm not saying your kids are sexually abused, but I'm talking about picking up on those clues. And Nathan says, do they have long lasting relationships with the same person forever? They can. They can. They definitely can. But it's interesting the divorce statistics, what percentage of divorces are initiated by women, and it's very interesting on how the correlation. I got to study it more, guys, because I'm not ready to put my name on it. I should do my doctoral thesis on it. But the rates of divorce and narcissism and male versus female, like it's all matching up with the divorces. So some do stay together, but it's going to be toxic. It's going to be toxic. I know this guy right now. He is miserable. He makes like $360,000 a year, and he's, I don't know, 55 or something. But he has low self-esteem because he's gained quite a bit of weight. Super smart, super kind-hearted. Also still has children in the house, and he's just the poor pity me. This is just my life. Nobody's going to want me. I fucked up. No love. He felt bullied into getting married. And he's not happy at all. He won't leave because financially. And also well, fuck my life. I'm not going to find anybody else. Why bother getting divorced? And she does her thing. I do my thing. So that'll probably last forever. Or it'll be like, um, if he gets real sick, that, she's going to leave him. You know, I, but if she gets sick, he'll stay. So it's little things like that. And I just saw, who was it? Andrew Tate. Gosh, I don't remember accurately enough to say everything, but they're talking about, um, you know, see you later type shit. Oh, he was talking about child support. This is what it was. Is he's like, yeah, maybe if you need diapers, like I'll support my kids if I had kids, but basically you try to take me to court. Fuck that. Like he's saying, I'll give what I want to give, and you can never drain me dry. Because somebody was saying, like, how long have you been monogamous? And he's like, what? Kind of like never. And it was a female interviewing him, and she was like, well, says, I have so much money, it doesn't matter. But he's like, I'll tell you what, if she takes me to court, I will burn everything. I don't care if I have to live in the jungle. So, even if they have all this disposable income, they'd rather burn it than give it to their child because somebody told them to do it. So they're stubborn, bullheaded, and they're not looking like, whatever you guys think about child support. But the point is he would lose everything as opposed to 10, 20%. So that's not logical thinking. Even if you're pissed you got to pay it, that's still not logical thinking. It's spiteful thinking. Samantha says, Lily, because it's been almost 10 years and no change, no, I don't see being with him. So Samantha, it's up to you, but you might want to really start thinking, is it time to make a plan? Uh, that's your choice to make. But it's been 10 years and no change. And I've heard your recordings, your audio recordings, and you try to express your feelings. And you're saying, and this is going to be paraphrased, but, you make me feel anxious, or the kids kind of like, we can't talk around the kids this way, or, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. And it's just, where she's like, relax, no, and then she tries to defend herself, like nobody was I don't know, I didn't know that was broken, and he's like just going off on her, to where she's not comfortable no matter what he says or she says. He's going to cut it down, and you also hear him cutting her off a lot, which has to be frustrating, um, because it sounds like one of the kids might have opened it and it got jammed, and um, I don't know. And logically too, you're like, if it's a grown person, they're probably not going to leave it. They're going to try to fix it, or, oh, sweetheart, the bathroom drawer is jammed. Could you take a look at it? So, Nathan, to answer your question, sometimes, and I know my friend, that'll last forever unless he's the one that gets sick. So, but some implode within the first month or two, So don't wait around, Nathan. I know sometimes we want it. And that's the thing I was saying with the new supply. The younger they are, the more likely, in my eyes, the bigger age gap, it's not going to work, because the younger, if the younger one is the victim, they don't have. I didn't have the skills back then to deal with it, and it's going to self implode. It just will. and just like that friend, the one that makes all that money, it's imploded. He's just sticking it out. You can live in a abandoned, damaged building. It's not good shelter though. It's cold. His marriage is cold, and he's really depressed. Really depressed. So and it's sad because, he's got such a kind heart, deserves to have a loving person, but
Sometimes when you're too kind, it bites you in the him. Like I said, he makes really good money. She was from Germany. I wanted to go to the States. He was in the services. So, I don't know how much of it was she really wanted to be with him or free ticket to America, you know? So, and didn't mind being with him. Some of them don't mind being with the person, and that's why it stays. Also, she doesn't have to work. She's kind of got it made. He doesn't make 40,000. He makes, you know, quite a bit, and she's pretty well off. Why would she leave? Why would she leave? Doesn't have to work, you know. Um, so Lily suggests start planning, Sam. We all deserve a good life. Plus, as the years go on, you don't want to have regrets. So yeah, Sam, I don't want you to feel that you failed. And sometimes, we were brought up, that you can achieve things, and you know, it's a big investment that we put ourselves through. So, it's it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's just, you know, if toxins are put, let's say you baked a cake, the cake still turned out, but there's toxins in it, so it's not good for you. So you did your part. You baked your cake, but with toxins, it's just not conducive to a good life. And, you know, we have to focus on really look through and see what's important to us and our safety. But you got kids involved, and um, that makes it hard. So Samantha says, no, that makes no sense why someone would do that, John, but they do. A relationship with manipulation and no sex. What did John say? Uh, what did you say, John? I feel so, John, I'm sorry. That, yeah, you deserve better. Did he say something else? Oh, John likes symmetry. And so, yeah, it makes no sense. It's like you got a good woman. For one thing, um, that's the woman you're with. It's not, free for all, go to the bar and select somebody different. That you got a life. You committed to something. And um, usually, you appreciate it. And so, yeah, you guys are, thank you, Nathan. Lily, you're right. Yeah, Sam, what about your parents? You're kind of estranged from them. I believe they were narcissistic too. Um, and not everybody's an NPD, where you need 5 or more out of 9 traits. But yeah, she's got some young kids, 8, 6, and 2. Parents are far, far away and not the best. Husband threatened me if I go there anyways. Now, what did he threaten if you go there? Because if you're separating him and they're far away, you know, and the threats, sometimes they're real. Sometimes they're real. And that's when we have to be really cautious. Sometimes they're blowing smoke just to um, control us. But Sam, you gotta document those things. And a personal protection order back in the day was only like $10. So, you can ask for $100 to get groceries and diapers and pocket 2, 3, $4 every time you go, and then get your personal protection order. There are ways to do it, and um, hang in there, Sam. But you need to get out. And Sam says, "You're so helpful, all of you. Thank you." And you're right, Cynthia. I agree with you. It's saying a lot to admit I wouldn't be with him if I had real options. So you got to create those options. They're not going to just come to you. They say God helps those that help themselves, because we miss out on a lot of blessings. Whether you believe in God or not, we miss out on a lot of blessings because we don't pursue them. I can sit here all day long with all my degrees and sit here and can't wait to get a job. Can't wait. Can't wait. I'm the smartest person here. I can't wait. It's going to do me no good unless I help myself. And that's when the blessings come. So John says, I agree with Nathan. Lily says, right, but everything could be excuses, and years later, she's still unhappy with him. She's got to find help, groups in her community, friends, something. Not easy, but staying is damaging and worse. And I want you to really, I'll read that one more time, Sam. Everything could be excuses, whether it's him or even you making excuses on why to stay. I can't afford it. Uh, my friend's doing that right now. She needs insulin, and she's like, yeah, they gave me numbers, but I'm not going to call them. It's like she's not even trying. Like she could call the people and dive into it. Like, who do you think can help me? And it might take some effort, but she's not even trying. So she's not going to get the insulin. Um, and, you're worth trying to find. Can somebody help me? And you'll go to that person. They might not be able to help, but that day they know of somebody who can help you. And even if that person does, it might take some time, but that's why I said to reach out to NAMI, NAMI. They got a couple of Facebook groups, but it's free. It's free. And they can give you some resources. I've never done any like government assistance, but you can find out from that stuff too. YWCA, I don't know if there's that many, or if it's changed. I think YMCA only admits males, and you do need a driver's license, is what my understanding is. But there are domestic violence shelters. I've known people who have lived in them. Uh, so you might want to check into that. And I think they let you stay there till you get on your feet. It was my understanding. But there's sacrifices, but for your safety, I mean, think about the people in Ukraine. They can love their home, but if it's not safe, they have to leave it. Um, and that's just an extreme example. Let's pray for those people. That's terrible what's going on over there. But, um, we have to really look at what part is safe. It's not always a household structure, it's not always a marriage that is safe. So that's something to consider. Um, she's got to find help. Groups in her community, friends, something. Not easy, but staying is damaging and worse. So thank you. I agree, Lily. Nathan says, thanks, John. And so does Sam to Nathan. Hey, $1. Maybe the V is good. Could be, could be. And I think we're talking about the vajayjay. So sometimes, yeah, people will stay in certain relationships just because of the sex. And, some people, they're down for that. That fits their lifestyle. But, other people want more. So it's interesting to people that just want the sex. If you dive in deeper, um, why do they have those walls up? There's something keeping those walls up because it's human nature to want to love or be loved. And, you know, uh, we really do uh, get affected by our childhood experiences. It's not even always about the parents. It could be about the community, or, you didn't make the cheer team, or you were teased, or whatever it is. Um, it really affects things. Samantha says, "Oh no, that's so poor, awful girl, awful poor girl." And Lily says, "Don't mean to be negative, but probably more unhappy marriages out there." Yeah, and I need to do the statistics. I can't remember if I did a statistical one on that, but there are a lot, and some people just have low self-esteem. That's my life. Fuck my life, I guess. And they make it worse too, like the old ball and chain instead of my beautiful wife, or even just kind wife. Um, they make it worse because that's going to make the other person feel a certain way, and uh, you know, it starts changing the relationship. Samantha says, trying to see what getting out even looks like. And um, it looks, there's going to be struggles. I'm not going to sit there and say there's not, but there's struggles in your relationship. So, it can be a little expensive. You do have 3 kids that, with childcare, you might want to talk to your parents. Is it really, I know my parents were pretty chill when I came back. Uh, I was like helping my dad because he had his leg amputated, but they were so thankful and pretty much I could do no wrong. Like I'd bring them coffee, like, and that was all I did. And they're like, "You're so helpful." Like I brought coffee like in 24 hours. And, oh, we're so glad you're here. And so sometimes too, they can be more chill, you know. Maybe not, but um, mine weren't as overbearing when I was an adult. You know, they were more thankful. So depending on your parents' needs too, you're like, don't worry about it. I'll clean the kitchen. Like I appreciate you letting us stay here, and they see that's a hassle off their hands, and you know that's probably going to be cheaper than full rent. So something to think about. Uh, and $1 is that all you pay for that? That could be. Um, but that is true though. Some people, that's all they want. You know, I talk about my narcissistic neighbor and he's just like, I just want to fuck. He doesn't mind like hanging out with someone, but he doesn't want them to get attached. And he just wants to do his own thing. Sometimes that's what works for them. And as long as both people agree, but where it causes the toxicity, and we have to focus on what the toxicity is. Because if you're cool with it, you know, that's fine. But if you're not cool with it, that's when it causes stress, and the stress can cause brain damage and the changes in our words because we're stressed, the way we interact with people. So it's just a constant cycle. But you're right, Laylee. I'll do my more. I don't want to give false statistics on that one, but I did read, and you're right. There's a lot of unhappy, and it's usually the women, which is interesting because more men are narcissistic, and it's like it kind of balances. Like if it was equal, and it's starting to be more equal, more females are shown as narcissist, you know, getting diagnosed. But it's interesting. The percent of divorces initiated by women almost correlates. Uh, and I really want to study that correlation because there's something to it. I guarantee you guys. I just haven't found a study, so I'm going to do my own study on that. And the court freezes everything as far as during like, what do you mean you can't do that? The court freezes everything. Are you talking? You will go to jail for what? I might have missed something. And interesting, $1. I think you got a good point on something, but I'd like you. I don't know what I missed. Uh, I'd like to know what you're referring to because I'd like to address it. I think it's something good. John says more than you think. Divorces are definitely on the rise these days. Um, the studies that I show, they're kind of saying that they're going down, um, but they're also saying there's an increase in cohabitation, which is just, you know, screw it, we don't need the paperwork. But we also did have the pandemic for 2 years where people, their finances are different, and we'll see what it's going to be like in the next 5 years. But yeah, John, there is some kind of trend going on, but I think there's mitigating circumstances that are changing it. So divorces either way are still high. People are also getting married later in life. Um, so they're very common though. And I want to see, I haven't studied the second and third marriages. So even if the trend was a little bit down, I want to say I came across 42 or 46%. It used to be like 50 or over 50%. It's still pretty close. And I think some of that is because of financial constraints, just like what Sam is in. She probably would have gotten divorced if she had money. So there's all those little things uh, because eventually those divorces will probably happen. Just like my rich friend, that will probably happen if he gets sick. It just hasn't come to fruition yet. So, uh, yeah, she still might stick it out for the money, but if it's or stick him in a nursing home. So he worked his whole life to be shoved away, you know. So I'll go into that more, John, with some statistics that I come across. So $1 says you can't sell or give anything give away anything during a divorce. I think you're right. Yeah. Yeah. You can before, but after, uh, I've never been divorced. So, uh, that's the thing. Yeah. You want to pay for your divorce. You can't sell your big screen TV because that's joint property. Um, they can freeze assets, bank accounts. I've heard some people, try to do that. So, like I said, I've never been divorced or married. So, but yeah, that's ringing true that I've heard things like that too. So, thank you for that $1 because I believe you're correct, and it might vary country to country, but we're in the United States over here, and so is Sam. So, Lily asks Sam, "How is he with the kids?" So, Sam, I want you to answer that. Lily, put your friend on our chat, and we'll help him. Uh, who is it? Are you talking about her husband or who you talk? Oh, my friend. Um, you know, we should. I'll invite him. I'll invite him. I will invite him. We'll see if he does it. Uh, he's stubborn. He might. He might. We're still in contact. He was that one I was telling you about. Was I dated him just a couple times, way back in high school. And we talked about Hoovers, how they can come 30 years later. But he's a kind person. So um, there were some things he did wrong, but uh, for the most part, he's very giving. But he still has issues. He's got CPTSD from being in the war. Um, he grew up kind of rough, but he has a good heart. I have another friend who she went through a traumatic childhood, and you can see she has anxiety, which she tries to handle. Like if you're driving in the car with her, she'll tell you this is what's up, and she tries hard, but she's real skittish on certain things. So, um, there are some toxic things that can come out sometimes too, and they're not always meant to be hurtful, you know. Uh, but when it's affecting your life, affecting your safety, and just like if her anxiety with my driving would cause me to crash, I have to let her not be in my car, and she's handling it enough. You know, I don't drive. I've only driven with her like 3, 4 times, but it's just an example of that's when we have to get rid of the toxic people or change the way they interact in our life. Lily says he's a sicko to say that to the kids. Sam says he calls them stupid and idiots and then he wants to play with them and they want to play too. So he goes acting like it's okay and it's my fault when I say something about what's going on. And yeah, I'm debating on calling DSS on Department of Social Services on, um, I'll just say some people that the dad kind of rips down the boy's pants, and he's done it 3 times now, 3 different times. And the boy finally stood up and he's like, "Stop!" Sweetest little kid. And I'm telling the dad, I'm like, "You got to stop doing that, especially in front of a woman, you know." Um, and he's not getting, he's like, "I'll do what I want. It's my house. It's my kid." And I'm like, "You're fucking him up." And he's like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, "That's like, you know, uh, like sexual, like either harassment or abuse. Like it's fucking the kid up." And I don't, it's at least abuse, you know. He's not touching his penis, anything like that, but to expose him, um, it's going to affect the kids. Like this kid has never shouted, so now you feel the anger. Um, but uh, they don't get it. Like it's like, what the fuck? They won't hear in their head. They're fucking their kid up. You say it directly. You tell them, even though it's illegal, this, that, and they're like, "I don't give a fuck. The kid's okay. He can deal with it, and don't tell me what to do." And they don't want to hear it. You know. But it's up to us to protect the kids. You know. A lot of kids' lives have been saved because of people stepping in. So I know it's a lot to take in, Sam. Uh, oh, Sam, honey, honey, honey. I want you to write down a list for me. Email it if you want, share it in here if you want. You know what he said. You know the things he does. The list of why you want or why you are staying. So if it's lack of money, we'll try to find you some resources. But and I know you love him, but you got to love yourself too. You got to protect your kids. You love your kids, but you got to protect them. And brushing it under the rug, um, isn't really protecting them. You know, uh, and that kind of. But you said he tells them to never marry someone like me. I exploded him and asked why he'd even say something like that. But he has a smug smile. They love having those. Fuck you, pissing you off. I said the right thing. They get a kick out of it and saying he did nothing wrong. And I hate that. Yeah, that little smug um, is so demeaning. You know, just like I don't give a fuck what you're saying. I'm doing what I want, and they like it. That's what that smile. It's a smug smile, but it's kind of it's also a fuck you smile. Kind of like I don't give a shit what you're saying. This is so fucking cool. I'm the one in control. Um, and he's disparaging. If it goes to court, disparaging is when you badmouth somebody, try to coerce somebody into believing something against you, and be careful on that because it's either going to cause your children to never marry someone like you and you're a kind woman who is trying to do right by people. So they're going to make bad choices in who they marry. So we're thinking about the kids right now. And it's hard to foresee into the future. But some of us are older and, I know sometimes we don't want to take advice. There's advice I was given and I didn't take it until I lived it. And I was like, fuck, why didn't I take that advice? It's a process you have to go through, but take as much advice as you can. But it's also going to turn the kids away from you. And the whole reason you're doing all these wonderful things, homeschooling and talking all sweet to them, reassuring them, they're going to be brainwashed. And if, they're at least in a situation where they can enjoy you as opposed to um, being confused by the dad. So Lily says, make 2023 your best year away from him. And that's why I want to do a celebration on New Year's Eve because we're going to start fresh, guys. It's so good that we do this New Year's celebration because it is a time to regroup, refocus, and get back on track. And we also have to be careful too with New Year's resolutions. Most of those don't last more than 5 or 6 weeks. But if you're committed to something, you can make a lifelong change with the commitment to change it. Lily says exactly, create the options and be proactive. So true. Guys, I think I got to catch up a little. So thank you guys for hanging in there. John says starting over is hard, but it's achievable. And Sam, you're documenting them. Feel free to forward them because they can save into my email if he ever gets into your stuff. But yeah, make sure it's saved somewhere because he can throw your phone out or whatever. And you don't have to send it to me. Just make sure you're doing something proactive on that. Lily says, I love starting over. Hated him, helped. Yeah, sometimes we get to the point where we're like, oh, I'm so fucking done with this. That's the easier time. That's the easier time to get over them. Move from KC, Kansas City, Missouri, his hometown, to my hometown, Florida. Well, I'd be happy too. I'd be like, see you, babe. Even if it was good. Um, yeah, and going back home sometimes, we're creatures of habit. And you found an apartment, started a new job with an hour and a half commute with 9-year-old daughter. You have an hour and a half commute? I hope this is a good job. Um, was liberating, great. And sometimes, we have to do certain things like that in the beginning. Do you want to do that forever? That one? Are we talking 3 hours or 1.5 a day? 3 hours a day or 1.5? I've done 45 minutes to work. It's doable. But Lily says he didn't fight for custody, so you were lucky. Yeah, sometimes they don't want to, especially narcissists. Mine did it out of revenge, or at times, same kid. Um, but sometimes it's a control thing, you know. And sometimes I don't know. Um, they have a love, but it's a different kind of love, and depends on who the narcissist is and how narcissistic they are, and how accommodating to the supply the children are. So, um, yeah, so some of them won't fight. And I'm kind of thinking, Sam, I don't know if he, as long as you play your cards right, he might not fight for custody. And, but if he feels he needs to control you, he might. So be careful on, he might not want to pay child support. So that might be a reason he doesn't do it. But guys, feel free to join in our chat, and let me know some of the things you guys are going through too. And thank you for helping out with Samantha. And Lily, that's fantastic. Yeah, John says, good for you. So Lily says, if you had the money to get out, go. At first, I didn't have the money, but luckily I liquidated an insurance policy. I keep forgetting I got some money hidden like that. Um, yeah, sometimes there are certain ways, or even certain, I don't really have designer stuff, but you can sell your designer clothes and get, you know, some money that way too, whatever you guys have, sewing machine that you don't use anymore. eBay's great for that kind of stuff, or garage sales, or I don't even know. Marketplace, I don't know how good that is. Be careful with that too. I don't do it. I got stuff to sell. I got some industrial sewing machines, but I'm like, I'm too scared to have people come into my basement to get them. They're full like 8 or 6 foot type tables, and like the sewing machine is like 150 pounds. Samantha says, just for the machine. Samantha says, if I had sufficient money, I'd be out. Oh, yes. Check into some domestic violence shelters. Um, and you could tell him, he slammed his head or hand again. And that could be physically threatening, even if he didn't make contact. But he did grab your face, so you might qualify. Um, and I don't believe it costs anything. They feed you. Uh, you know, Lily says, thanks, John. I could write a book the way I methodically planned my exit. He was never violent, thank God. Yeah, they're not always violent. They're not always violent. Some are. Some are. And Lily says, you love him, Sam? So I'll let Sam answer that. I know what she's told me, but I'll let that come from Sam's mouth. Sam says, I've received all of the advice. I love him, but I love my children. And he's hurting the family, and I have to do what love requires and protect the children and the family. So loving him doesn't mean I'm bound to him. Yeah, you look at, I don't know, does Samantha Smart fall in love with her people? I don't think so. I'm not sure. There are certain kidnapped victims that really start loving their kidnappers, because it is seen as their provider, their protector, their only source of contact, whatever it is. And, they will say they love them. Um, but that person took them away from their family, which narcissists like to isolate us, like Sam, like he did with your grandfather, isolated you from him. Um, so we can love, you know, I love chocolate cake, but I can't have it all the time, or it's going to like fuck me up, whether it's diabetes or, there's things that we love. Doesn't mean it's good for us, you know. Um, and that's why we have to love ourselves and see what's more important. Staying in an abusive relationship, and I'm more important than the cake, like things like that. We got to think about those kind of things. John says, after I was done with my narcissist, she put people up to try to get me into another relationship with others, but I wasn't much interested. To try to get me into another relationship with others. So was she trying to hook you up with other girls? Is that what you were saying? Lily says, no more commute. Yeah, sometimes we got to do it for a little while. You did it for 6 months, caused you anxiety. Ooh, digital court reporter. Good for you. 3 hours a day and rushing to get back to get her from extended aftercare. Yeah, and also check into too. Like sometimes there are certain things about homeschooling, and also I'm in the school system. Uh, be selective on things, but there are some resources through the schools. Also, some schools have before and after care. Our school does. There's probably a fee if you want me to find out. Not that you'll use it, but to get an idea of how much it costs. Um, you know, uh, but when the kids are at school, you're not paying daycare, and it socializes them. Um, there's good and bad to being in the schools. But it gets if you don't know new math, watch out. New math is crazy, and as they get more into things, uh, they might want to learn physics. You don't know it, so you teach them chemistry. And I know both you probably, but you get the gist. They want to learn French, but you know Spanish, so they're missing out on what fulfills them. Um, it gets harder as they get older to teach, and that would be hard with three kids because they're not all. Why does this not scroll? Um, so 6 months, good for you. You knew what it took, though. That's right, Sam. So take action. Trauma bond, Sam says. Yeah, give me a sad face if you've been trauma bonded, guys, because that trauma bond is so hard to explain. And when we're talking to our friends, things like that, they think we're freaking crazy. Like, can't you see the forest through the trees? And you're like, no, I'm in love with this person. And it hurts. It does hurt when you go through a breakup. And that's because it's like that withdrawal. Like they say, it's just like a withdrawal from cocaine, and it can physically hurt and emotionally hurt. And one thing about you, Sam, though, is you do have the kids to kind of keep you busy, and that can help. uh, that you can look at your blessings and enjoy them. They can help you get through this. Don't put the burden on them, but cherish every little smile or hug, and sit down and have meals with them, whatever it is. But don't, mommy needs a hug, mommy misses daddy. You can't do that. But I'm so glad. Let me hug you and give you a good night kiss and tuck you in. So be careful how you talk with them too. And so Samantha sends some love back. I think we can relate to that trauma bond until we get to that fuck you stage. And if it's a breakup before that fuck up stage, that's when it's hard. It's still hard, but John says, yes, Cynthia, I hadn't even gotten past my girlfriend passing away and people kept throwing it in my face. So, yeah, people don't always let us grieve. And, it's the 5 stages of grief. We have to go through each stage or we get stuck. Just like Samantha, you're kind of stuck right now. Uh, and yeah, Lily, where's your husband now? Because we've been blessed to have you join us um, quite a few nights in a row or close to in a row. Um, and I'm glad you're here. But your husband's also not spending time with you, and he's in the bathroom. Um, my first was a cop. So Sam says her man is a forklift driver. Does he know you're on this chat? So he's in the bathroom. Is because you get to join us for quite a while. Is he like a long pooper? like, um, so yeah, he probably doesn't know we're on chat. Um, but I'm glad you've been able to spend some time with us. And also too, when people are like, you know, uh, looking at the self-aware narcissists, how they're like, yeah, we're healing, we're getting better, working on our marriage. And you see how much, like, guys, I know what it's like to do these videos, how much time it takes. And they do more editing than I do. They might hire people, but the editing takes time, the setup. Even though this is at my parents', I just did it as quick as I could. It took me 25 minutes, which might not sound like a lot, but when you're moving to different areas and traveling or whatever. It takes time. So they're saying that they're doing good, but they're doing their regular jobs and then they're doing this. So they're not spending time on their relationship. So, Sam, you have a marriage, but you don't have time with your man. How much time do you get with him? You know? So flush him down the toilet. It'll clog the toilet. Or wait, do you live rural? Or um, do you have a septic field? Or will he go down the. Oh, Lee, Lee, Lee. Oh, Dixie, Dixie, come here, honey. Come on. Honey. Pop up. Dixie. Oh, you guys want to see Dixie? Come here, honey. Oh, why are you crying? Yeah. I don't think she's learned that my dad's gone. Come here, Pop. Sit. There's Dixie. Hold on. Pop. Look at my good puppy. Oh, that's Dixie. Dixie. I told you, yeah, I'm setting up. So here's the house. We'll just look around. Do, 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 do. And then this hallway, I don't have it lit up, but it's like so cool how they have some cleaning ladies, which are also like helpers because kind of when my dad was here, disabled and mom needs help too. But they decorated that's like a whole candy cane lane. I love it down there when it's all lit up. So you got to see Dixie. So thanks. That's my parents' house. It's not mine, but yeah, I'll have to walk you guys around one day. Um, so John says I was actually going to suggest flushing him. Is that considered murder? Drowning him down a toilet. Forrest, hey, Forrest Whitaker's left eye. What a cool name. I'm telling him you're talking about him like this. Oh no, you're not. Forrest, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? But yeah, that's the thing. Like some of us, like I hope you're joking. If you're talking to Sam, because sometimes we really do need somebody who can kind of help us think through things and be in a safe spot. So Forrest, let me know exactly what you're talking about. Unless you, who are you telling? Tattletale. But good to have you here. We were talking about Samantha. We're also talking about male, female, narcissist, all the different things that are going on in our lives. Feel free to join in. Thank you, Forrest, for joining. And I'm trying to scroll down. There we go. Lily says, my ex-narc was gone a lot, which made it bearable. Yeah, sometimes too, it's like we don't want to be with the person or we feel a peace or comfort when they are gone. He was a workaholic, probably cheating. I'm glad he was gone. Yeah, sometimes too, when, either they're workaholics because they need something to bolster their self-esteem or they don't want to be in the relationship as much as they thought, or they're overwhelmed, don't know how to handle it, um, preoccupied, a distraction. And sometimes it is because they're cheating. And yeah, oh, thank you. Yeah, Dixie is pretty. She's a sweetie. She's very calm. Um, yeah, I don't know why she's so apt to throw up today. I don't want to clean that up. We can talk for 20 hours on chat tonight because I don't want to go clean that up. It's not my house, so I have to. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things to consider, but safety is one thing. I'd like a nice house, but if it's not safe, I'd rather live in a trailer. Um, if, I, I had a job and it was a pretty nice job, pretty easy, but, and this was when I was 16, but it was at an answering service. It was easy. The money was halfway decent for being 16, but it was so dusty and like everything was dusty. And we're talking like the fans, there was no, and it was like the caked on dust, oh, and I got really sick. I got mono, and also like it was terrible to breathe, confined, and it just wasn't healthy. So regardless of how much you like something, sometimes it's not healthy. If you guys know about the Flint water problem, um, I don't care how beautiful a house is in Flint. I'm not going to buy a house in Flint with that lead poisoning. And, even if they gave me a house for free, I I'd rather pay to be safe. So we all have different priorities and different things to look at. But thank you guys for those thumbs up. That definitely helps with the algorithm. And Samantha says he's out and I have to get kids settled down. Good night, all. Samantha, we love you. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow. I don't know. Lily, thank you, Sam. See you soon. Sleep well. Lily, usually not. Usually not. She loves car rides. But I did take her across state for like 3.5 hours. And then she's usually good in the car. Um, but I don't know. I did run up to see my mom for 40, 45 minutes. Maybe she got stressed out doing that because she was in the car. I didn't have enough time to come to my parents to drop her off to. But she's been in the car before. I only do it if the temperature's okay. I doubt she was stressed out, but it might have been that sandwich I gave her earlier. I don't know. I don't know on that, but I think she's okay. But John says, thank you for asking, though. Usually, I went down to Tennessee, and when I was driving back, I was sick and I was exhausted. Drove for an hour and a half, and I'm like, I can't do it. I got to take a nap, thinking it's going to be an hour or two. Slept 9 hours, so I'm like, I'm okay. I'm totally good. And so then I got tired again, and I'm like, "Ah, I just need to sleep. So since I already slept 9 hours, I thought, I'll wake up in 45 minutes to 2 hours. So I'm not going to get a hotel. Slept like another 4 or 6 hours. It took 30 hours for like a 9, 10 hour drive, 30 hours in the car. And I get home and I think I had to go to the gas station or something. And Dixie's like, let's go, let's go. And I'm like, we just spent 30 hours. She loves the car, loves the car. So, uh, and everybody's saying goodbye to Sam. And Lily, how long ago was your thing that I can't remember how long you were with them. So we have a couple other people in chat. Feel free to tell me your stories, questions, comments, or concerns. But we got a really good group here, and we'll hopefully see some of you too on New Year's. Lily, did you have to drive in lots of snow? That's why I didn't go until today. Um, I'm over in Michigan. We had that big old blizzard. Wasn't as bad as they predicted. Like we canceled school on Friday, and I just stayed home. Like I was alone. I went to see my neighbors on Christmas, but yeah, I was alone for the holidays, and I was able to drive today. The roads were pretty good, but before they were like solid ice. And when the temperature gets too cold, uh, the salt won't melt the ice. So ice is ineffective at that temperature. So I didn't risk it, just stayed home. So we had some snow, but not like feet upon feet. So what about you guys? How did you guys survive the blizzard? I know some of you are um, Ohio, Pennsylvania, different places like that. A couple Michigan people. Nathan, are you still here with us? And Mahogany, uh, I got to make sure everybody. I hope Mahogany is still here and Nathan. The snow, uh, you can't you're not out. I used to be able to drive from Michigan to Florida. Good, Mahogany. See, I remember you guys. I'm glad you're here. Feel free to join in or just kind of sit back and chill. But I used to be able to drive from Detroit down to Orlando without stopping. It's like 23, 24 hours. And just drive it straight through, not take a break at all. Now I go down to Tennessee and it's like I'm exhausted. Take like 1 or 2 naps on a 10-hour drive. So yeah. And I've done so much traveling that I'm so burnt out on it. I don't the worst trip I made was from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina up to Fargo, North Dakota. I think it was 36 hours without naps. And I probably took naps, but that's the drive time, if I remember correctly. And John says, we had a mix of snow and rain, but mostly very, very cold here. And that's where it got dangerous. Like Friday night, we had some rain, and like melting snow where it hits the ground, but the ground's still warm enough, turning it into ice. So you were with him for 14 years, left him 7 years ago, and couldn't be happier. Perfect. And um, did he ever try to hoover you? Because I know some of us have had holiday hoovers. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes they know this person is not going to entertain me coming back. They're just going to um, totally shut me down. And sometimes their egos are like, I can't have it shattered anymore. And others are entitled to where they're like, fuck you, you are my woman. Um, but you're in Pennsylvania, right, John? If I remember. So not too far away, like in the same longitude-ish, different latitude. Oh, New York. I'm sorry, John. Kingston, New York. And yeah, sorry about that. I knew you were Eastern Standard Time, though. All right, let's see. Death toll in a historic winter storm hits 50. Buffalo, New York preps for more snow in worst blizzard. At least 27 deaths were reported in Western New York, many of them in Buffalo. Power outages, flight cancellations. So, gotta love these little pop ups that I keep saying I don't want. So, John, be aware. Are you guys getting more snow? So that was, what was it, Buffalo? We had somebody from Buffalo a couple nights ago. So Mahogany says, I just find out that my mother wrote the principal a letter saying my son is treating my sister's daughter and my cousin's daughter bad, and mom wanted my son to apologize to both of them. And how do you feel about that, Mahogany, before I go on with you? Because I'd like to address your issues. So, is it your mother that's narcissistic, or um, give me a little bit more? I know you've told me I deal with a lot of people sometimes too, and just like with John, I've known John for a year, and I know certain things like he's Eastern Standard Time, but I got his state wrong. Um, you were actually born in Pennsylvania. Is that why I'm thinking Pennsylvania, John? I don't think so though. I think you were on when somebody else from PA was. Uh, oh yeah, get back. Yeah. So yeah, a Hoover. You think of the Hoover vacuum cleaner to Hoover vacuum cleaner suck you back up, and a reverse Hoover is when we're like, I miss my person, and we go back to them. So that's considered a reverse Hoover when you are the victim, but you want to get back. Lily says, "Oh, that's right, John. I got mixed up with JG. Yeah, JG is on my Instagram now. I don't know. Uh, he just said, "Hey, it's me. This is me from live chat." Uh, they will try to come. A lot of them do try to come back, and I don't want you guys with this holiday that we just had to feel depressed or less than if you did not get a Hoover. Sometimes you might not get a Hoover for 30 years. Sometimes it might be next year. Sometimes you might not get one. Is Nathan still here? Nathan, did you get yours? Is probably coming later. Not quite yet. You just had a recent one. Um, John says they try to get back with you. A lot of times they do, and that's when they're at low supply. And as we get older, too, some people start feeling more self conscious, whether it's weight gain, muscle loss, gray hair, hair falling out, whatever it is, failing health, that uh, they might go back to somebody they think is going to care because they might not have the confidence to go find somebody that it's just easier, pick through what you have. Like it's easier for me to go through my closet and get an okay pair of jeans than it is for me to go invest. There's the word invest in, something I like better. Uh, it takes time, it takes, selection, and it takes investment. And that is just go, like they say, the Hoover or the, harem garage, just like my clothing drawer. It's just easier. And that's why they'll often do it. It's like, I don't want the hassle. I'll just call somebody up. They'll come over, instant girlfriend, instant boyfriend. And Mahogany says they're lying. It's them bullying him. Okay. Yeah. And that's, my mom can't get to me, so she's trying to hurt me through my child. They been bullying my son, but my son didn't tell because he said they are his cousins. Are they in elementary school? And Lily, is it you that also works in the elementary in some capacity? Uh, what a mess, Mahogany. Lily says he tried years later, but not anything aggressively. Yeah, so even they're not always aggressive. It's like, hey, want to hook up or want to go out? Nope. Okay. So usually if you really love the person, you're a little more persistent. But they're just like, look at. A lot of them don't try hard, and other ones uh, who feel super entitled or embarrassed about the breakup will go into panic mode, and that's when they get aggressive. Um, so yeah, that's the thing. Mahogany. Gosh, that's the thing. Like in the school system, we can usually tell who's lying and who's not, who's being bullied. So you might want to have a meeting with the teacher before your son is forced to apologize to get to the heart of it, because we have kids often. I think you guys know I work in the elementary school as an art teacher, but you can see who's lying or you see the patterns. And there's like there's times we don't see things. There are times that we don't see the exact interaction, but a lot of times children are like narcissists, so they'll use a scapegoat and they'll just pick somebody and that's their target. And it's like, there's no way this you know kid would say something. And sometimes too, like their lies are so like dumb that it's like you have a kid that doesn't speak a different language and they're like, no, he said. And it's like, kid doesn't even know what that means. Like, to where we can see through things. So you might want to meet with the teachers. And also we have behavioral specialists at my school that's starting to be pretty popular in the recent schools I've worked at, because your kids shouldn't be bullied. And definitely, if he's not doing it, he shouldn't apologize. So maybe there can be some interventions that can happen. Is it also when she's watching both him and the cousins? So the cousins are doing some shit, and she's trying to blame it on him. Um, yeah, that's hard. Uh, so Mahogany says, yes, I've been so mad about this. My mother always has my sister's daughter, so she's turning her into a narcissist. Yeah, and yeah, the more interaction, it can definitely happen. And so Lily says, yes, behavior therapist with autistic kid who is in elementary. Mahogany says, I'm going to the school board. Try the school first. You can go to the school board too. That's completely up to you. I'm not telling you not to do that, but do both. Do both if you feel inclined. But you have not been around them in 3 years. So that's good. You remove them from the situation. Has their demeanor changed? Are they happy? Is your son happier now? Um, and I noticed you said autistic. Oh, I see. You're answering. You're the behavior therapist with an autistic child. Okay. So I believe that's how I'm taking it. So, yeah, even Lily here, Mahogany, is a behavior therapist. Um, and there are different kinds of behaviors that we deal with in the school system, but it's good to get to the bottom of it. Also have like a little uh, bird's eye view, a watchdog for your child, and sometimes just removing it. When was it that it happened with your mom, though? When was the last time your mom got involved? So your sister's daughter is going to be possibly hanging out with your son. How often do they see each other? Just at family gatherings, or Some families are real close. They see each other quite a bit. So I'm not exactly sure, but your son doesn't want to be around them because he said your mother is trying to make them work like slaves. That can be, yeah, sometimes, you know, children can be used sometimes. Like, cool, the grandkids are over, or the, you know, great nieces and nephews, or even some parents are like, I'm not doing laundry. That's, I'm not cooking dinner, whatever. Um, it is good that kids learn to do some things, but not when they're run like slaves. There should be a limit to it, and also, pick up after yourself when you're at somebody else's house, but you shouldn't be uh, to where you're doing their chores, if you're just visiting. You can help out, but I don't think that should be forced upon somebody. And I don't blame you for getting mad. You know, when kids are teased, it affects them and it changes them. And especially, a lot of us have these amazing children and we don't want them changed. We want them to develop into this beautiful person that we see inside them. We want it to flourish instead of get stifled. So Lily says, cannot turn my back on him. And so when you're talking about the autistic kid, are you saying that you have to watch him like crazy or he might do something? Or are you saying that you're there for him to support him? And I know you're there to support him, but like I'm not going to turn my back and leave him. Or are you saying you have to watch him? So Lily, if you can expand on that. So yeah, 3 years, some healing can help. And that's good. But how long were they exposed to the narcissistic abuse, Mahogany? And Lily, if you can expand on that, because childhood, uh, really, the more I look at it, at first I thought it was a bunch of bullshit. Like I'm like, whatever. Like this is stupid. I mean, I'll study it, but I didn't agree with it at first until you're like, whoa. And then on top of it, I am certified to teach in psychology. I teach in the elementary right now. Um, and I also have a lot of different degrees in abnormal or credits in abnormal psychology and um, developmental psychology, all different kinds of things. My favorite is abnormal. I wanted to do more criminal psychology. Lily says, listen to your son that he doesn't want to be around them. Yeah, a lot of times, kids like to be social. They like to be social usually. And he's saying, please protect me. Please protect me. So Mahogany, yeah, keep us posted on what you do with that because um, and be persistent too. Don't just ask one time at the school or like follow up or have them say, can you call me on Friday and I get a status update? Or, um, sometimes we have to be aggressive for things. And Lily, that's good advice. Listen to your son. There's a reason he doesn't want to be around him. Mahogany says, my mother always picks sides. She has never watched or kept my kids, only my sister's daughter over all the kids. And are all the others boys? Um, that she's just taken the daughter, a girl? I wonder. Your sister's daughter stays with your mom. So she has my sister's daughter. Yeah. What is it? Abuse by proxy or whatever. But yeah, it's like she's having him. It's kind of like also a flying monkey. Do my abuse for me. Thank you guys for those thumbs up, those likes. That definitely helps with the algorithm. So it's definitely appreciated. Read above. He bit you. Ooh. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes it kind of bebops. I don't know why when I scroll. Uh, where did I miss that? I try not to miss things. So the autistic kid bit you? I'm not seeing it. I just find out that my mother wrote, yeah, I'm not seeing it. So he bit you, the autistic kid bit you? Um, yeah, yeah, my first day teaching pre-K 3, I had a kid bite me and another kid throw up on me. I've been taken down to the floor trying to break up fights. I've been bit, slapped, punched in the gut. It's not always, a safe job. Kids can be ruthless, and I can't remember what else things have happened, but yeah, the school system, it's changed over the years. It's a lot more dangerous, and we kind of coddle the kids. You know, uh, I don't know. There's some good things that we're doing, and some things that I wonder what's going to happen in the future. So they don't know how to obey rules. They're given options right now. Um, you can sit down or you can work on this till you calm down. And it's good to have options, but there's, you know, some laws or rules don't have options. It's not pay your rent today or, if you want to wait. Um, it's like, no, this is a cutoff. This is what you have to do. Or, you know, um, yeah. And we also teach them, uh, I don't know, uh, maybe speak to the school counselor. Yeah, there are school counselors. Um, that I believe, as far as my exposure, is more middle school, high school for a school counselor. And I'm currently in the elementary, but those are the behavior specialists that can kind of help. If you say the word school counselor, they'll tell you we don't have that, but we have this, or we have a school counselor. So excellent advice, Lily. Mahogany, all my mother's grandkids all together is two girls and all boys. Okay, because sometimes they'll favor a certain sex. Between the two girls, does your sister's kid look more like mom and the other one more like somebody else, like maybe you? Because sometimes too they'll identify with a certain child just based on looks or mannerisms, or one might be more of a, without disrespect to the little girl, like a kiss up, uh, so Lily says, yeah, but not a bad bite. But when I go back, I have to watch. Kids can stab you with pencils. Yes. They can stab you with pencils in the art room. We have scissors. I had another kid, he was trying to, like, with scissors, and I stopped him just in time. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm cutting his finger off. I'm like, you can't do that. He's like, why? Like, and he said it so nonchalant, like, duh, I'm cutting his finger off. Like, what's the big deal? I'm like, oh, God. Another one tried to cut somebody else's hair. And yeah. And that's the thing, they throw things. Yeah. So some of them will get aggressive, but they'll throw things without thinking. And, like, it can get dangerous. They don't handle things the right way. Stay safe out in the school system. Mahogany says, this is how it all started. My mother slept with her cousin and had my brother and sister. And when she had me, their dad was in jail. So you have your own dad. They have the same father. Ah, okay. So yeah, there's some family dynamics going on. Plus, it's a cousin. Um, Goodness. Let's see if I can. So I wonder, is she close to both your brother and sister? Because maybe she had a closer love tie with your cousin as opposed to the second daddy, your dad, the um, second donor, however you want to word it. So, are you the youngest, or am I doing it in reverse order? Are you the youngest or the oldest, Mahogany? And give me the birth order. I just did some research again on birth order. It's pretty interesting. There's some things to it. Also, when they say there's more than 7 years, so tell me if there's more than 7 years. If there's more than 7 years, like that child starts over as like being considered like a firstborn, in a sense, according to what I've studied so far. But as far as the dynamics on how it's going to affect their life. So we got lots of people in here. Feel free to join in on us. Hit that like button, get that algorithm going, grow this channel. Some of you might not know we're doing a New Year's Eve get together party. Feel free to join us 11:15. I'll even stay celebrate a couple New Year's as we go. Eastern Standard Time 11:15, and for a few hours we'll celebrate. Mahogany, your sister's 38, you're 37. Oh, she flip flopped. Uh oh. So there's a cheating in between, and um, your brother and sister had the same dad. Okay. Your mom now. Stay clear. Mahogany says yes. Okay, so mom, yeah, it sounds like mom's cheating. Even, uh, we shouldn't have children with our first, you said cousin, you didn't specify first cousin, but because of the DNA, all that stuff, it's not wise to do that. When it's more removed, there's less chances of mutations, uh, birth defects, things like that. But so you're saying don't tell your mom about anything about your life or anything because she'll use it against you? Is that what you're saying? Because yeah, sometimes you try to confide in them, uh, and they either don't care, so it hurts, or they use it against you. Um, and it can get confusing because sometimes it seems like they'll listen, sometimes they don't, and we never know when that safe spot is. But it seems like mom had some issues with cheating in between. So I wonder how stable the situation was, the home life. And so, since you're in between and your brother has the same as your older sister, who was in the house when all three of you were being raised? Because this is going to kind of help guide some of the things I might say. Um, because you might, and I don't mean it as disrespect, it's just kind of a way to say it. So it's like you're the fling child. Um, and sometimes too, uh, that throws things off. Was she close to both your brother and sister? Your sister has a leg that's bigger than the other one. They're blaming you and telling her she's prettier than you. How are they blaming you for that, though? Your sister's leg is bigger than the other one, and they're blaming you and telling her she's prettier than me. Oh, both dads? Oh, you said one was in jail. Wait, I'm confused. You're the black sheep. Yeah, that's what I kind of felt. As soon as I saw the little birth order and daddy order, um, yeah, and that can be hard. People start turning against you, and also too with your brother and sister having different dads. They also might, and this is just a perception. Maybe they saw you as the interruption in their happy life, because you have a different dad. And their dad went to jail when your mom was pregnant with you. Okay, so my question is, yeah, he came back. Your brother's younger, right? And who was the head of the household? What male was the head of the household? You said all of us. So I don't know if you mean jail dad or your dad. Um, their dad went to jail. So I'm just wondering who came back. Well, yeah, I'm assuming jail dad is the one that was in the house, unless you do mean all of you. Yes, he came back after you were born and made my sister. Their dad was in and out of jail. So where was your dad when all this was going on? And then I get the complete story. Being the black sheep can be hard, especially uh, sometimes too by telling your sister that she's prettier than you, can turn your sister against you, like, "I'm prettier," and cut you down, uh, make her feel better than you, so if she feels better than you, she's gonna treat you worse, as opposed to, "Whatever, we just look like we look," you know? Maybe I have prettier hair, she has prettier skin, la la la, but, um and they might have told her that, thinking sometimes too, they might think, maybe she's feeling self-conscious about one leg being bigger than the other. So we'll kind of boost her ego and tell her she's pretty, but that can hurt other people. They don't think about everything that they're saying. So even if it's meant kind hearted, it's toxic. So, we talk about narcissists aren't always out to get us, but the way they handle things fucks other people up. Sometimes it is targeted and toxic. Other times it's just the way they say it. And I gave that example in the beginning of this video where, you know, when you have low self-esteem, I talked about when I first moved in with my first narcissist. I'm a kind-hearted person, but I didn't have the self-esteem to say exactly what I meant. So I said it a different way. So it kind of hurt his feelings. I could kind of see, and it was not malintentioned. It was me trying not to sound like a nerd, and it twisted the way my words came out. And so, you know, uh, that was in a sense narcissistic because I wanted to protect not sounding like a nerd, you know, or something that he wouldn't agree with. So self esteem matters. And your own family was, John says, hold on, give me one sec, John. So he made your brother and I mean. They are, yeah. And yeah, sometimes we start getting in defense mode. Like, just like I talked about that little boy when his dad kept pantsing him. He's like, stop. That is not that kid. He will never talk to me like that because he doesn't feel threatened by me. He will talk to other people that way. And eventually, as he gets older, if his dad keeps abusing him, it's gonna be on anxiousness. He's not gonna know who to trust, who not to trust. He's gonna have a lot of triggers. So um, Layla says, yeah, they are drama, and they cause drama just on little things, um, because the lack of empathy. So let's say, and I'm not saying this is true, but let's say they're like, our poor daughter, she's a little self-conscious about her leg. We'll stroke her ego. But if they had empathy, they're like, we can't pit her against the other daughter, you know, uh, or they would see maybe if your sister got arrogant about it, and I don't know. It's so hard. It is so hard. Uh, Sometimes it's used for manipulation, and that's why there's so many struggles in relationships. So Mahogany says, my dad was in Texas. I didn't know my dad till I was 16. So that can be traumatic too. Did you know that you were we'll call it black sheep, the middle child who had a separate dad? Did you know that you had a different dad before you were 16? Or that's just when you like met him? You didn't know of him, or you didn't meet him? Because sometimes too we know if we're adopted or uh, a byproduct of an affair. And I hope that doesn't sound the wrong way, because it's not meant to be rude. John says, my own family was jealous because I'm smart and understand things better than they could. Yeah. They can get jealous and they'll tell you to shut up. They don't want to hear it. Or if you give advice or talk about certain things, sometimes it's over their head. They get frustrated. They're like, I don't want to hear it. And you can't express yourself, and they'll start getting jealous. And to handle their shortcomings, they'll knock you down. And it sucks. Instead of learning from you, they'd rather be stuck in, you know, not understanding. And that's the same with the narcissist is they get overwhelmed or anxious or bored or fear of abandonment, whatever they're going through. And instead of learning from it, they bail, just like John's family bailed on learning new things or understanding things, looking at it as a blessing that John knows so many things. And Mahogany says, yes, drama. And I was closer to my grandmother. Her mother and my mom hated you for that. There's a lot of jealousy in some families. Yeah. And it's like, can he blame you? If they're not, you know, uh, I don't know. Um, if the mom's not treating you the right way, uh, or giving you the attention, we need attention. And, I'm sure you tried with your mom and she wasn't receptive to it or giving you what you need. And, that's why, like with Samantha, if we're not getting what we need, that, you know, we have to just be honest with people. Try and say this, if you're in a relationship, express it, um, and either work around it or, it's not healthy to stay. Just like my rich friend I was telling you about. And I only call him that so you guys can link back to the story. I'm not bragging. I have a rich friend. I don't get his money, but he's going to be miserable. He is miserable. He is one of the most depressed people I know. And if he didn't have kids, he'd probably commit suicide. And he's a veterinarian, which has like the highest suicide rate of occupations. Also has that CPTSD from the war, and it's dumb for him to be in that relationship because he's already has uh, some things that could trigger him to eventually commit suicide, which I hope he doesn't. Because he has a kind heart, but he has low self-esteem. Also dealing with things that overwhelm him to where he's not focusing on what he should, and also with the society. He doesn't want people to call him a doctor. Technically, he can be called a doctor since he's a vet, but so he's kind of humble. But it's also certain things. He wants to be a good family man, and he can't admit that the family isn't a good structure, and it's affected how his kids treat him. So he has an abusive wife, or at least a cold. No, she's abusive, and the kids are disassociated, um, and it's sad. So Mahogany says, when you turned 16, your mom called you from your grandmother's and told you she had a surprise. The man sitting on the sofa, and she said, that's your dad. I'm not going to lie, you were so happy. Wow. Sometimes, too, it's like, oh, thank God. Thank God that one wasn't my dad. This is my dad. Um, wow. What made her decide to tell you? Did daddy want to like come into your life? Was he sick of being on the outside? Or um, that's interesting. She waited 16 years. Or was she afraid 16 years because you'd have your driver's license and you need to bring your birth certificate that it's going to come out? Interesting. She waited till you were 16. But yeah, congratulations. Yeah, sometimes there's blessings we never expect. So that's fantastic. Are you close with him now? Lily says, my sisters are a bit like that because I'm the youngest. Ugh, I hate jealousy. Yeah. Um, yeah, sisters. All that estrogen. Um, your sister, Mahogany says, my sister, they copy everything I do. Is sad and sick. Yeah. And that's the thing, though, as we're growing up, we are trying to find ourselves, and we do a lot of it through mirroring. So take it as a compliment when people want to copy you. It is a compliment. It gets annoying because you want your own identity, but it's a compliment that you're the leader, you're the shit. So I can relate. I got two sisters. So Mahogany says, she told me before my sister and brother's dad got out of jail. Huh. You got some family dynamics, sweetheart. Um, yeah, but definitely, for your son's sake, definitely contact the schools. And he shouldn't be forced to apologize because that's just going to make him more of a victim. the kids are just gonna think I can get away with it, and then they're gonna think it's funny that we got him to have to apologize. So now they're gonna do more shit to make him more of a victim. So stand up for him. Hear the whole story. Um, yeah, I feel bad for him. But congratulations on finding out your dad. That must have been wild. Like 16 years old. It's like what? Um, and that's good though that you didn't have any anger. What about jail dad? Did jail dad get mad that your real dad was told to you? Because that could sometimes too be an embarrassment in a sense to his pride. So did he take that out on you after you were 16? Did things get worse between you and him? Mahogany says he beat me when he found out I was not his. For him, I went to school with a nurse on your leg. Um, so yeah, when jail dad found out that you weren't his, is that what you're saying? And you knew you were different, and he beat you. A bruise, Bruise, bruise. Uh, yeah, because he wrote nurse. I was like, wait, what? um, but yeah, a bruise on your leg. Uh, yeah, and it's because his pride was hurt. His pride was hurt. He probably wasn't proud that he got cheated on. Um, he didn't want to take accountability that he was in jail, uh, wasn't available to, but also your mom uh, didn't uphold the vows. Whether they were married or were they able to get married if they were cousins? Because I didn't find out if they were first or second cousins. I know down in Indiana, I had a friend whose husband left her for his first cousin. They were able to get married in Indiana. They couldn't have done it in Michigan, so they moved out of state. Mahogany says, I went to a school, oh, I'm sorry, with your bruise on your leg. Your mother didn't care that your dad beat me. Your grandpa told you to call the cops. Um, would have been kind of nice if grandpa kind of called. Um, and so, was that when you were 16 that the beating happened? And sometimes, like you said, you knew you were different. Just like us going through this narcissistic abuse, we know something is not quite right, and you can just feel it. Okay, yeah. Um, I mean, you were old enough. Technically, you're not adult till you're 18, but it'd be nice if your grandpa would have. And sometimes, he might not want to get involved because that's, I believe, his daughter. Um, I would, assuming it's not the dad's father, but I could be wrong. Um, and Lily says, I hope you're having a happy life now, Mahogany, and put all that crap behind you. Yeah, and that's one thing we have to take power over. Just like our narcissists, we wish they would. But the things that we've gone through in life, whether it was as a child or as an adult, or even through that narcissistic abuse, um, once we put it behind us, we do have to cope with it. We do have to, excuse me, understand it, but uh, realize that it's okay to have whatever feelings we're having, but we have to guide our feelings. We can't let our feelings guide us. And if we let our thoughts that are negative overpower us, it's going to lead us down this terrible path. But, sometimes we might have some off type thoughts. You might be mad at grandpa, so you might want to do something to grandpa. But if you're like, no, I can't do it, I need to understand, or just let it go, that's when we're going to be happier. Uh, when we turn those feelings around. Lily, sorry, Mahogany says, yes, thank you, I'm happy. Yeah, just like Mahogany had all those years, and then 16 years, it's like, whoa, I got the right dad, a better dad. And, you know, we never know what the future's going to bring. Like, I bet you if you age 15, you ask Mahogany, you know, "Is there any chance?" And she'd be like, "You guys are crazy." Um, Sometimes things come to at the time that we need them to. And John says, "I would never, ever hit a woman," and I believe that. Uh, and that's the thing too, like, if we feel that things are gonna cause us to do certain things that we don't believe in doing, that's when we have to leave a situation. So, John, if you were ever with a woman and she just triggered you, you would know to walk away, to let it go, not to escalate it, to de-escalate it instead. And a lot of times narcissists will escalate things instead of trying to make them better. Lily says, which one beat you? The dad you thought was your dad or the real dad? Uh, the jail dad, the one she thought was her dad. Is, yeah, is what I'm believing. Please clarify. Jail dad is the one that beat you. That's the one I'm thinking. Mahogany says my sister's dad beat me. That's jail dad because I was not his, and he wanted to fight my real dad. And yeah, so it was jail dad. Um, yeah, that's what I thought. And it's always good to clarify. Narcissists don't do that. They'll just take it and they'll be like, "But you said," and it's like, "I didn't say that. You misunderstood it." So that's good. That's a very healthy thing, Lily, to ask just to make sure. And that shows, like, I really want to know your story. I really care about you, as opposed to, I don't know, what'd you say? Um, so I really love that about this channel is that I see that a lot in the way you guys are communicating, the way you guys are helping people. It's so much healthier than I even see at work sometimes, or just people in general, or the children that I teach at school, or family members, what you see on Facebook. Um, we got a great group here. Definitely have a great group here. And I really want it to grow for us. Because with this narcissistic abuse, so often people don't understand it. And it's hard to heal because we a lot of times didn't get closure, or, you know, by understanding what went wrong, we grow. Like if you bake a cake, you're like, oh, I didn't make eggs. Now I got to remember to put that in. Or I forgot to put oil in my car. Now I need to remember to do that. It helps us grow. But we get stuck because we're like, I want to grow from this. And we also don't know what we are walking away from. So we're racking our brain to see what the error was. And sometimes we just had to like scrap it, just understand it's a lot of times you don't have the answer. Uh, but I'm sorry, like, gosh, yeah, beatings are not, I don't, I've had some spankings, some pretty good spankings, but I was never really beat. Um, but I know some people get beat bad. I've had broken bones. I definitely, and I'm a burn victim, but and stitches, all that stuff. I know what pain is, but that's different. You fall down, you break your leg, that sucks. Being beaten has a big fear added to it. And fear, not being able to control things. So even if you didn't get a broken bone, I'd rather break my bone the way I did because, um, yeah, that's got to be scary. So, Mahogany says, my mother still loves her cousin, my sister's dad, but he left her to be with another woman. I see why she is like this because that's sick. Yeah. There's just so much instability. And, you know, part of what gets us with our narcissist, what gets us trauma bonded is the intermittent reinforcement. And then also what messes our lives up is instability. We really do need stability. We need at least one constant person who is there, somebody we can go to. Um, but when people are pitted against each other, and it's just so sad how many things are toxic. There's a lot of families with that scapegoat or the black sheep. Um, I wouldn't say I had a horrible life, but I was kind of the black sheep, more the free spirit. Um, and then my other sister was kind of like the soft spoken, and she was kind of the lost child. And then my brother and sister, yeah, I have a brother and two sisters. So this one, sorry, the little one. So yeah, the two middle ones. That's why I want to study birth order. The two middle ones were, it's interesting. It fits for my family, it doesn't fit for all families. We'll get into in a different video. Ebony, hey Ebony, good to see you. It's been 14 months since your ex narc discarded you abruptly and ghosted. They love to ghost. Ghosting is so toxic. Um, and a lot of times it is abrupt. So Ebony, I'm sorry, but 14 months, it still hurts, angers you that you were used. Um, and and that's a sign that you know that you're worth something. So take that in a sense as positive that you know. Um, and I know it hurts. You loathe him. And that's part of you're going through the 5 stages of grief. You're in that anger stage, which is a necessary stage. So take it as progress. And yeah, loathing him is part of anger. His divorce concluded, and he and his girlfriend went public on Facebook. Um, so you say his divorce. So were you dating him while he was married? Um, and then he got divorced from his wife and then has a girlfriend and posted on Facebook? Because sometimes too, it can be intertwined like that. So, um, you know, you know, it's not your fault sometimes too that sometimes we don't know what the true story is till later, and sometimes we do, and we think that we can rise above it, but a lot of times it just goes bad. So Ebony, he made a bunch of empty promises. They do that future faking. I can relate to your story, so I feel your pain, and you were so good to that monster. Makes you sick. And I've been talking like the a lot of times this is where it's so fucked up is the nicer you are, the more you give, the more you're fucked over. And they say the one that invests the most is the one that gets hurt the most. That's why it's really important for us to match their energy. That is so hard to do, excruciatingly hard. Um, because like my narcissist had like a 3 time higher threshold of like when we contact each other, on what I feel is normal. Like Ebony, if I'm like, hey, can you call me back? You don't call me after like 3, 4 days. It's kind of like, obviously you don't want to be my friend. Like if that's a pattern, you and I are friends, we're talking, but then it's like, so his is like, 12 days a month, whatever, like no big deal. And it's like, can't outweigh it. We all are different on what I see. But, so I get in my uncomfort zone a lot quicker, but you got to let them bring, and that's going to shorten their time the more they invest. And sometimes it's just hard. And then, yeah, all of a sudden it's over Facebook with this new person, and that hurts. Like, what the fuck? Like, you promised me this. Um, you know, uh, we start thinking, is she better than me? Why didn't you pick me? And the part that hurts too is you promised. You promised. So Lily says, I'm not on Facebook, but I have a profile so I can be a voyeur, somebody who watches from the outside. LOL. But there's a saying, may your life be as great as you pretend it is on Facebook. I know people that portray all happy, but not true. So true. Excellent. Thank you, Lily, for sharing that because usually when it's over the top, it's usually showing you something. If you're super happy, you want to live life, like I can't wait to go do this, and as opposed to get to document everything and share it. It's okay if you document it. Have your little, photo album so you can look through your memories. But um, okay, yeah, I kind of weeded that out, Ebony. Thank you for clarifying. Um, but that's a great thing because we get hurt. I went through the same thing. And, you know, uh, the more people I know now, and especially since I started studying psychology, is you kind of hone in and listen um, and really see. There's this one girl I know, like, the back and forth, and then the breakup, and now she's dating his uh, best friend, and now she's talking about having babies with him and a life together. And it's like, dude, you've only been together for 3 months, and um, just the extremes of like I love, 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 and now I hate. Um, but yeah, look at her Facebook. Like you'd be jealous. Like, oh, she's so lucky. No, no, it's all a facade. You know, you look at my Facebook. I got like educational stuff, and that you're like, oh, lonely old woman. But the more content you are, the least you have to brag. And it's okay to share certain things. It is okay. But I know this one coworker. She's a friend of mine on Facebook, but she definitely, and she's very open about it. She is diagnosed. She was seen as bipolar for 20 years, and now they're like, "Oops, you're borderline." But I think she's got to be histrionic as well. Um, has to be. There's no way around it. Uh, but um, and that's my opinion. But how much she posts is you can see the mental illness matches. Like there's no doubt. You won't go no. Just her need for validation, and she's just back and forth of you know fuck, am I never dating again? I don't need a man, and he's a piece of trash. And now it's like we're back together, and it's like again, and just the lovey-dovey. Like they haven't worked through anything. um, he just comes back in her life, and they're super happy again. It's same patterns. They don't correct the pattern. So Ebony says correct. His divorce was pending at that time. And Lily says, yeah, Ebony, you dodged a bullet. So you can already see, like, he's, still married. And I get it. Some people are like the divorce proceedings, but he's got two side chicks and who knows how many else. So maybe she's the main supply, but take that as a compliment. Take it as you um, were a strong person, and uh, you know, you weren't as easily controlled. And I know sometimes we're like, but I love them. Uh, it's so weird when you give them things and you don't have a match that energy. We think, and all we're doing is we're tilting the scale. Um, and it's sad. In a healthy relationship, they appreciate it and they invest as well. It just gets the ball rolling. But with a narcissist, it's so different um, because it's uncomfortable for them to be loved. Sounds weird. They need that chaos, and then you start thinking, but they're with this new person, and there's probably more chaos. There's probably more. Take this to heart. There's probably more chaos or commotion or distraction. Sometimes it's distractions. My second one, I believe a lot of it was because of extra kids. And, he didn't have to deal with empty nest syndrome when he got divorced and just all that stuff. There's reasons people do the things they do. Ebony says, looks like he's giving her everything I deserve, birthdays, vacations, etc. And this is so classic narcissistic. you know, um, yeah. And a lot of times too, they're over the, like, I mean, we all have our budgets. We all have our budgets, but that, uh, usually it's not just, you know, uh, I don't know, just a trip to up north at a hotel or a cabin. It's usually, uh, as much as they can afford within there, California, Florida, or maybe Hawaii or Italy, whatever they can do. But it's like not your basic. We're going to go camping this weekend. It's usually more than that. Not always. Um, so 14 months. How long were you guys together? Did you say a year and a half? I can't remember. How long were you with him? And did you know about the other girl? Because I'm assuming uh, he was dating both of you at about the same time. Uh, a lot of times, narcissists will monkey branch; they won't let go of one supply until the other. And a lot of times, too, about the time that they ghost you is about the time they feel secure with a new relationship. So new relationships sometimes take a little bit of time. They want to see if the person's either going to sleep with them or stick around or break up with their person and get with them. Um, yeah, it does hurt. I know. Uh, how long were you with him though? Oh, I got to catch up, guys. Sorry. Uh, oh, no, I'll catch up. Yeah, but he was a narc, so he's a sicko. And yeah, Ebony says, thanks, Lily. So Lily says he's doing the love bombing, but it's all bullshit. Ebony says he was seemingly so impressed and obsessed with me and flipped the script in the end. I feel so played. Like what he has with this girl is real. I agree. All of a sudden, you were with me, promising me the world, and tomorrow you're in love. They don't process things. So he was with you. He at least had a connection with you in some way, whether it was friends with benefits in his mind, maybe not in yours, but there was some kind of connection. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh. And to not have any feelings of like I kind of screwed my friend over, even if it was with benefits. That that's what he saw you as, which I hope he didn't, because it sounds like you were more invested. But and that's the hardest part is they're promising. We're like, well, where's this going? Or do you see a future with me? Or they give you what you want to hear, and then they take it away, and that's when we feel used. That's when we feel duped. Um, that's when it hurts even more. That's why these kind of relationships hurt so much more than just a regular breakup. Because I talked about my cousin, her man was from, I believe, Germany, and they had a great relationship. And so he went back to Germany, and she just, she visited. They were dating for a while. Great relationship, but she's a family girl, loves her family here, and I think it's like a family business, like big money, and also his family's there, and they just decided, I need my family. So they just broke up and they really liked each other, but their lives were going separate ways and they dealt with it. Uh, they played a part in the breakup as opposed to, what the fuck? Wait, what? They agreed to break up because one of them could have said, okay, I will sacrifice and I will be with you. But they're like, it's the ghosting is so shitty. And that's kind of a trend now, too. Um, So, and yeah, they do. They'll hone in on you and feel like they're upset, obsessed. John says, I'm getting kind of tired of people. I have to go check on my pets anyways. So, oh, you're getting kind of okay, I think you said tired of people. John, thank you so much for joining us. Go check on all the animals. Check your tree for those snakes and get some sleep. And yeah, good night, guys. Take care, John. So, Lily says, thanks, John. Lily says, how long were you with him? Oh gosh, it's doing that flip flop stuff. You were with him for 10 months. Okay. So luckily you got out. The longer you're with them, the harder it is. Um, and it's still hard though. Ebony, he divorced his ex wife twice. I should have ran. And oh gosh, I wouldn't doubt if he ends back up with the ex wife. That's my guess. Could be wrong, but yeah, he doesn't know what he wants. He's just going moment to moment. Lily says, Ebony, let me scroll down, guys. I wish it was a smoother scroll. Uh, Take care, John. I have to go walk the dog. Love to all. Good night. Lily, thank you so much for joining us. Um, And Lily says, Ebony, understand, even short time can hurt. The hurt will fade and you'll be okay. Ebony says it felt longer because he came on so strong, almost infatuated with me. Lily said, yeah, I'll be here a couple days, but when I do drive home, thank you. I'll have a safe drive to the hospital tomorrow. Thanks, Lily. Get some sleep. Ebony says, I definitely didn't know about her. I would never settle for that. And that's the thing too. Sometimes we express like, I am not into that, and they don't care. They'll go ahead and still use us for whether it's sex, companionship, maybe some of our money or place to stay or a caregiver. And it's not even necessarily where they live with you. They want a free meal, they come over. Um, and you even met the man's parents and kids, and he spent so much time together. He said he wanted to marry me and have a child. Such psychological trauma and abuse, all a lie. Damn. Yeah, sometimes too, they keep you a secret, but yeah, you didn't really have the red flags. Wow. Lily says dog's sleeping. I'll wait. I love it. Yeah, my dog's sleeping too. I can still chat with you guys. So, Lily, to catch up, she met this guy's parents and the kids, and he said he wanted to marry her, have a child, and yeah, I mean, he's saying exactly what she wants to hear, and then just ghost, and that's the worst because I kind of went through that too. I promise a future, I promise, and for like years, and then all of a sudden you're thinking like, is he dead or what happened? Because we didn't have a fight, and then we start questioning ourselves, like, did do I look okay? Did I do something wrong? Did I break something? Did I forget about something we're supposed to? We start questioning everything because we're like, things were perfect. Like, what happened? Um, uh, Ebony says, I had so many heartbreaks and I got over it, and you will too. Doesn't seem like it now, but you will. And a lot of us are going through it where it's like, it's never going to get better. But it does. It does. But we have to help ourselves get to that point. When you're in that anger stage, um, you're going to, you know, go through some depression afterwards. You're going to be angry and then you're going to go through some depression. And you can flip flop back to the denial stage, the bargaining stage, the anger stage. But if you get to, the last stage is acceptance. We can only change what we can change. And that's when you're going to be free, when you get to that acceptance. So he made it look and feel so real. And Leslie is like, yeah, it does hurt. But we got to look at those red flags about, you know, marrying your wife twice, and then you and as we get older, I'm 52, as we get older, there's more situations for us to evaluate. But when you're in your early 20s or 30s, you can evaluate, well, he decided to work it out with his wife, and you don't know the consecutive type of things. So life is hard. Ebony, I kept calling him after he dumped me, and he ignored me until his mother made him call. That's when I saw his ugliness, passive aggressive. A lot of times you made me do it, or if you would have been a better lover, or if you would have, like, I don't know, combed your hair better or whatever. And they start like giving you more abuse on top of it, you know? And we kind of freak out. I did that. I called like an idiot a thousand zillion times. And that's when they think, they can use that against us. They're the crazy one. They keep calling. But yeah, when you get ghosted, it puts you in a panic mode um, because you love the person. And, you know, um, just so like so. And then when you did finally talk to him, he didn't want to take accountability, so he had to put the blame on you. That's where that passive aggressive comes. And he's not concerned about what he did to you. He's concerned about his life. And I'm happy now. Like, it's going to fall apart. He's going to continue that same cycle because he's doing dickiness with you, being a jerk. So it's not like, he's Mr. Kind all of a sudden, like, I'm in love and I'm sorry it can't work out, but I wish you a good life. It's no, I'm gonna attack you some more. I'm gonna cut you down. I'm gonna make you think it's your fault, and quit fucking telling my mom to call you or for me to call. He's probably mad at his mom. His mom, in a sense, kind of gave him some good advice. Like, don't hurt the girl. She did love you. And now he's probably mad at mom. Uh, he told me, you're not over it because you keep calling. Well, duh. I, I was pissed off and felt so rejected. Yeah. And just because he says get over it, uh, you know, did you tell why what caused him to say that? Did you say, I get it, we're done, or I'm pissed off? It's you can, you used to call, Lily says, I used to call one of mine too, just so I could hear his voice and hang up. And I forgot about caller ID a long time ago. And he said, Hi, Lisa. Knew it was me. Haha. It's so long ago, but a hard breakup. Yeah, sometimes too, they will answer. They're like, Hey. And you're like, Oh. So they, when we, and this is a perfect example because our narcissists, sometimes they forget things, they don't think things through. That's trauma based, just like Lisa or Lily, which is Lisa, was kind of in trauma. We don't always think like, is this the smartest thing to do? But Lily, big hug to you. I can understand. I've done some stupid stuff too, and you're like, oh, like how did I not think that through? you know. Um, so Lily was in a 10-month relationship too, but I got over it. Yeah. Yeah, we fall hard, but we gotta take it slow. Take it slow. Some of the best relationships are when you wait to have sex, um, at least for quite a while, as opposed to 1 or 2 dates. They had, it's not, who was it? It wasn't, there was one guy, I can't remember I can't remember his name. Uh, but he had like the 3 date rule. He was a radio DJ in Detroit, and he's like, it was like getting laid 101 or girl, something like that. And um, it was basically a narcissistic challenge. He's like, if she doesn't put out on her 3rd date, uh, dump her. And that's not really getting to know the person. He also had it where going down, they had like this is so many years. It was like 25, 30 years, no, 35 years ago. Um, but if you like honk your horn at like every like on the hour, like people are Buckman is what I want to say. I can't remember his name. But the girls are supposed to flash. So when you're driving, everybody starts honking their horn, and girls are supposed to flash, and that's when flash their breasts, and that's when you knew who was like one of these. What the heck was his name? Um, but yeah, I don't blame you for being pissed off. He was. So Ebony says, because after I cursed him out, I said, I'm done with you. You disgust me. Okay. And yeah, so usually, I mean, well, he did call you in this time, but you were showing him, you weren't over him, because usually when you're over someone, you get into like, I want to say indecisive. That's not. I don't use the word that where you don't have any feelings. It's not hate, anger, indifference. Indifference. It's like whatever. I don't need to tell him I'm over him. He's not calling me. I'm indifferent. I don't. And it'll be like fuck him as opposed to no. We need to talk about this. So he did see that you weren't over him because you were still in the pain. You might not want to continue it, or you might have wanted to work things out, but you know he did disgust you, and you know, um, you probably, meant what you said, but your heart wasn't over him. Uh, so, you know, but yeah, they can be passive aggressive. Lily says, good, be done with him. Lily says that one wasn't an arc though. LOL. The 10-month relationship you were talking about. Yeah. And that's the thing, Lily. Yeah, you can have a 10-month relationship that doesn't pan out, and they don't hurt as much. It's sad, but um, when it's narcissistic, it's harder, especially with the ghosting, because you're like, you just threw me out. Not even a thank you. It's, uh, Ebony says, bottom line is he played on my vulnerability of wanting a baby. Hmm. Yep. and used it to his advantage. He was looking to medicate his pain from his divorce period. Exactly, exactly. Mine moved on with somebody younger to kind of fulfill. The girl was young in a sense, and when I talk about his daughter, it's not in a sexual way, but the new supply was young enough to replace the wife that he's divorcing, um, and old enough, or old enough to replace the wife, but young enough to replace the daughter. She was in between their ages, so he didn't have to do empty nest with that stuff. And also, there was a son. She had a son, so he didn't have to deal with things. It's just replacement. That's what they do. They replace and they don't cope, um, because after you cursed them out, uh, so Ebony says, but I was in pain and needed closure. It had only been less than 2 months. And closure, we need that. And we don't get it with a narcissist a lot of times. Lily says, yeah, I was a rebound to a guy 2 years ago. He was hurt over his ex, but was a good relationship. He was a federal probation officer. Um, yeah, and sometimes too, they're like, it's not working. It was, you can tell rebounds often don't work because they haven't dealt with things and they just want comfort, not necessarily the correct person for them. But sometimes it's enjoyable, but it still hurts. You were kind of hoping for something. Ebony says, funny thing is, he still wasn't divorced after he dumped me. So I guess he went on to use whoever else, probably including this current girl. And yeah, and that's why some of us are like, um, what's wrong with me? Is this new person better? Um, and the thing is, whether they are or aren't, we're never going to get to the bottom of it because the narcissist doesn't take the time to even figure it out for himself. Um, and I keep saying that it's just somebody different, but they, they see a flaw or two or three and screw it. They're done. That's when the devaluation, the Sherlock Holmes comes out and tries to be Mr. Detective or Miss Detective to uncover as many flaws, insecurities, whatever that they can get to. And yeah, that's hard when you want a baby too. They kind of take up some of your good years of having a baby. So be glad that it was only 10 months. Mine took away my time to have another child. We did try, had a couple miscarriages, but I didn't see him that often. So it was almost impossible. And we're talking, you know, he took away my time to have, uh, it's a lifelong thing. So hopefully you can still have children, and if it's meant to be, you'll find the right person. Uh, so you say you tried to break up with him a few times, and he fought you to stay. He just wanted to be the one to end it. Insecure coward. And that's the truth, though. Sometimes they're like, no, they'll get back together with you to break up with you sometimes. And I don't know why my camera looks so fuzzy right now. Um, but yeah, they want to be in control. They want to also, uh, sometimes too, it's weird. Sometimes they want to break up with you so they control the situation. Other times too, they will force you. They'll treat you so crappy that you break up with them. So they can go and tell, well, I tried to work it out. She left me. It's not my fault. Um, each narcissist is different. So, you can't decipher if they were a narcissist based on who broke up with who because they all handle it different. But a lot, just like you said, you tried to break up with them a few times. And we got to look at ourselves too. Like, if we mean what we say, that we decided that we want to break up, we got to stick to it. Like, we're letting people, like, and a breakup is something you really should think through. Um, but, we get manipulated back into it. So before you break up with somebody, talk to them. Like, look, this isn't working. Can we work on this? But when you get to like it's breakup time, that if that's in your mind, um, it's kind of telling you, even if you stay, it's not going to work. very rarely. It can if both people work on it, but there's a communication problem if it's not working out. Lily says, sounds familiar, Ebony. I experienced all that too. Ebony says, I personally don't think it's real because how do you jump out of a 17-year marriage and days later be on Facebook with somebody else? He can't possibly be healed. No way. Now, this is the one, right, where he married her twice, divorced her twice. He's getting back at her. And, um, he's trying to say, fuck you. I didn't need you. Um, and I don't think the fuck you was targeted at you. I think it was targeted at his wife. Um, Also, it's a distraction sometimes to where people are like, oh my gosh, who are you with now? Like, as opposed to, so how's the divorce going? He doesn't have to focus on the divorce. He can focus on something different, you know. Uh, and they are, yeah, like Lily says, they're just self-serving. Years, Lily says, years wasted time with guys too. Unless that, I'm not sure, is that a Jewish word, yellow? No, they don't, I don't know. Uh, is that a typo? Yes, wasted time with guys too. I'm not sure what that word means. Um, and it could be a typo. Ebony says, I was tired of giving more than I was receiving, so I ripped him apart one day. A boundary. Yeah. And there's times it's like, that's kind of like the reactive abuse. You broke my boundary and I react to it, and it didn't have to be that way. And that's when he raised the white flag. Yep. Days later, called me and dumped me. My friend said he felt exposed. Yeah, once they feel exposed, you call them out on things. That's that narcissistic injury, and they're like, "Fuck this! I, I cannot have you see who I am." And Lily says, "Why did you?" Good question, Lily. Why did you try breaking up the times before? And Ebony says, I tried breaking up with him because I felt like I was investing more than him. And this is what we have to do in the future. Um, is we have to pull back. We have to pull back, and uh, if it's meant to work out, it will. And I fall into that too, where it's like, just answer the freaking question. Can we work it out, or can you just call every Thursday or whatever it is? And we're like, why is it gotta be so freaking hard? Um, but we got to do that. We got to do that. We got to go through some uncomfort to get our comfort, whether it's the answer that it's not meant to be or to have them invest. Because when we get in that kind of panic mode, um, we're investing more because we want to get rid of that feeling of panic. And when we do that, or anxiety, uh, it smothers them, it pushes them away, and they'll either attack us or I don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking about getting rid of Facebook. I'm also starting to get frustrated. I like YouTube, but with all these um, brain dead things that people are posting, I don't mind silly things, but where they start telling a story and they cut it off, you're like, you just wasted my time. I don't even care if the ending is stupid, but there's so many clickbaits to where it has nothing to do with the thing. Um, you know, uh, like for I don't know, for you to sit here and I'm going to do a full TikTok of me combing my hair. It's like I could teach you about conditioner or something like that, but like, do you really? Good morning. And there's so much of it that we're just causing frustrations. You see people getting irritated and you know, uh, crazy. So never give more than you receive in the future. And that's, yeah, I'm at that point. And it's silly, but it does work. Sometimes it's hard, like, what? Do nothing and it works out. I mean, you can reach out a little bit, kind of like, um, you know, give a little oxygen to the fire. But, you know, uh, don't be the only one sustaining it. And you're going to get exhausted, mentally exhausted. And when you're seeking love and you're giving and you're not getting back, that's when you feel empty. Um, and you'll start to feel really empty in these narcissistic relationships because a lot of times too, that balance stays off because they're like, fuck you, you're not going to do this, or, and you're like, oh crap, this isn't working. um, Still, if it's meant to be, they'll come towards you. And a lot of times too, their attention span. So yeah, I don't know. Then concentrate on reasons why you wanted to break up. And oh yes, okay. Yeah, that's okay. I know typos happen. Usually I can read through them, but sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure what that one was. Usually good at them. Uh, Ebony says, wow, my sister said the same, that he's trying to get back at the ex. Yeah, that's what I think. I don't think it's you. I think he's trying to get back at the ex. Especially since he was married twice. Um, and there's probably family members on the Facebook or cousins, things like that. And um, it's it's a fuck you to her. Who initiated the divorce? Do you know? Did the wife or your ex? Uh, I bet it was the wife. Ebony says it's hard when he did. Okay, he did. Okay, yeah, because I should have said he did because he did have all that extra supplies. I wasn't sure if she found out though, but um, yeah, he's not happy. Did you ever find out why? Did he tell you why he wanted to leave? How long were they married both times? Interesting. Yeah, I probably should have said he. Uh, it's You'll get over it. Try not to look at his Facebook. Yeah, that's a really good information. Try not to look at his Facebook. Easier said than done. So true. But try to put yourself first. The thing is like, you know, yeah, I know Ray means king too in Spanish. I'm like, I don't think you speak Spanish to me. But like let's say right now, I'm not saying that you want to look like me, but I'm like, oh, I'm 74 pounds. You're like, oh my gosh, I need to get down to 74. And I'm freaking lying to you. But that's what I said. And same with Facebook. And it's not the truth. And we start like feeling sorry for ourselves or trying to achieve different goals, and it's all lies. uh Not all, but a lot of lies, and uh it starts changing how we look at ourselves, like they're always so put together, like what's wrong with me, or they always have such nice clothes, or why can't I go out to dinner like that, or why did um just live your life. If you have a special occasion, that's okay. Post that the whole family got together for Thanksgiving or whatever, but um don't let social media become your life. And whether it's you posting or scrolling, um, and especially with your guy, it's going to change. So you're going to, let's say, right now you're crying because he's going on vacations, or you're a little jealous over, his new relationship. Um, Check back in a year or two, it's going to be completely different. You just cried for nothing. you know I know it's hard. I think Lily can, we get it. We can relate to it. Ebony, he claims she cheated on him with his coworkers, played victim. After what he did to me, I totally believe that if she did it, it was a response to whatever he did to her. He likely cheated first. Either way, yeah, and this one, it could be either way. Sometimes we always think, we see the dickiness in our person, and we're like, but it can be both ways. It can be both ways. So she might have, and then he did like grudge fucks or fuck you, or it could have been him too. I'm not going to say it's not. So you could be completely correct, but we never know what goes on behind closed doors. And he might have been too embarrassed to even say she, um, but he wanted to be the victim. Yeah, he might, and this is where it gets tricky. So I'm not discounting. You could be 100% correct, but um, so if she in reality, how do I want to word this? Okay, so Did he ever tell you that he cheated? I'm trying to think how I want to word that thing. And you haven't looked in over a month. Yeah, great job. The Lily thinks so too. How did you meet him? He's a police officer. I had a police officer one. Yeah, be careful. Some of them are great people, but they do have a status. Women throw themselves at police officers. You met online, but didn't know that we knew each other indirectly. Oh, hmm. And they, yeah, I'm sorry for that. And I'll tell you what, you dated many cops when I was a court reporter. Haha, like every department was fun. Yeah, cops can be fun going to the cop parties and stuff like that. But my ex was actually like shot at. And he also got hit by a truck, grazed like by a semi. Um, I will say he was a very good cop, but it's dangerous. It's definitely dangerous. He had the day we went down there to move, our first day together, he went to work, and he was state police, but his the deputies, some of his friends, got grazed in the head, shot at, and um, luckily didn't die, but it you know it can be stressful. And I know some of us do wait for karma. We do. And it usually comes. It usually comes. Um, this almost killed me, and he cared not. Yeah. And, karma, uh, you know, usually happens, but we want to really control our energy, to not really put negative energy out there, because it's going to happen. Then, um, I know it can be so devastating. And part of it too, like there are good, like kind cops, but they also get used to, uh, cries and complaining, and they kind of sometimes can tune that out. They come a little hardened sometimes. Um, and sad. Lily says, I guess everyone meets online. I've been busy raising and putting my daughter first and haven't cared about dating. It's hard to date now, especially after COVID, too. Uh, and now we're in, a surge again. Ebony says, first marriage lasted a few years, second one was about 14 years. To the same. And Mahogany is back. Hi, Mahogany. I was wondering where you went. It's so good to have you. Thanks. Lily says, I'm waiting for karma on XNAR too. So I hear ya. And um, yeah, that's us sometimes controlling our reactive abuse. We want to, but we're like, we'll leave it up to karma, but it better hurry. And we have to, with karma, um, sometimes we might not see it. It might have already happened, but we're thinking we want them to break up with that person. And it could be something completely different that we don't realize, that it's either a cancer or a lost opportunity or other things. We may never know what it was, you know, but uh, Ebony says he once told me at my funeral, when everyone is calling me a monster, you can defend me. Sounds like he's caused a lot of damage. Ew. Yeah, so he knows he's a dick. When everyone is calling me a monster, why would, you know, uh, there's a reason that's in his head. He must be believing people think that way, or people have said that. That's not a normal thing to say, you know. Um, I would say some, maybe, comfort my family when I'm gone. Uh, Tell them I love them, whatever. I'll be okay. Don't mourn over me, whatever. Live your life. But that's why it's so interesting, the words that people say. It says so much about them, their lives. And when we're in conversations with people, we don't tear it apart like that. Part of it, it's kind of nice that you guys text me so I can see it and kind of, those were the exact words, because sometimes too we gloss over certain words, or you know, where I can, I don't know, where I might think you said yellow and you said uh, maize, and those are different colors. Or so I get like the full picture when you can see the actual word. When I, in my head, interpreted your word as a color and put the wrong color in my head. Does that make sense? I don't know. Some people think different than other people do. And when he says, people have said that, I told him, who the hell says that? That's not normal. I guarantee he's made a mess in so many places. Probably, probably. And, during police training, they teach how to read lies so they know how to do lies. Mine used to kind of try to um, extract information through psychological techniques, and I saw through it. I'm like, come on, I know what you're trying to, just ask me. you know but they try to trap you. They try to uh, yeah, they, cops, but they know how to lie too. But there's so many different things on lie detection that our bodies do. And psych psychopaths and sociopaths, their body doesn't respond. I still need to remind me, guys, to do that one about the emotions and the body heats, the body responses that our bodies go through, because a lot of